All right, welcome back, everybody, to Locked Off Logic podcast. This is Tyler again. No Sam this week. Sam is currently filming a movie, still in the depths of the desert of Utah. So it will attach in, like we do every week, the bio for his Kickstarter. His Kickstarter is The Getaway, which should be an interesting story in the movie that he's making. But this week, I'm really excited because I'm welcoming on my cousin, Jeremy Finn, who gets watching on YouTube. He's here, and this won't go out till like next Sunday.
Yeah.
So it's not live.
Yeah.
But
Filming this right now, though.
yeah, we're filming it. Yeah. So I'm really excited to have Jeremy on. Jeremy's my cousin. I've known Jeremy since the day I was born. And he's got a really cool story. I've seen Jeremy in some really awesome places and probably some places that aren't so good. And so he's here to share about it all in a very open and honest way, which I think is the best way to share these type of things. And for those of us listening on the podcast, check us out on Patreon. We have sponsorship opportunities available to get more exclusive content. All that goes to help us out with our Riverside account, with our podcast accounts, and then a portion of it goes to help Sam, obviously, with his movies that he's making as well, which is awesome. And check us out on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, X. We're on all those sites. Subscribe to us on YouTube, and stay tuned as we wrap up the year with more stories and more movies and video games. And are you still a video game there or no?
I mean, I watch my kids do them.
Okay.
I'm interested in them. I just haven't for a long time. I just had a lot going on in life, so just haven't had time. But I constantly have game systems hooked up in my home.
Cool. So we're doing it in my bedroom again. For those of you that watch the podcast with John Bigler, we didn't hit in my bedroom because he had his kids here too, and they were watching, I think, the BYU football game. And we moved it to my bedroom, and we were doing this podcast. And Jeremy brought his kids over, and they're currently playing Red Dead Redemption, which is a
great game.
Yeah, great. Red Dead Redemption 2, I might add. So I think that's one of the best video games.
I started that one.
Is it good?
Yeah.
I downloaded it maybe like 2 weeks ago, and I haven't touched it yet because I've been playing Ninja Gaiden 4, which was awesome. But so I'm glad your kids are getting some enjoyment out of it while we do the podcast.
A little bit smart for me.
Yeah.
I'm kind of a dumbed up gamer.
What's your favorite video game?
Hands down, Grand Theft Auto.
Okay, nice.
Played every one.
That's
in anticipation for the new one,
which might never come out. I just saw that delayed
again. It keeps getting pushed back further and further and further.
I just saw this interview with the kid from Stranger Things. The kid was pissed off that they hit the away once again.
Well, the crazy thing is the amount of detail in that game. I mean, when will it ever be ready?
Yeah.
I mean, the sea is as detailed as the land.
Cool. Well, anyway, everybody, I thank you for the housekeeping items. If you haven't checked out, obviously, Ninja Gaiden, definitely check it out. And then Grand Theft Auto 6, 5, which one is it?
6.
Whenever it comes out, if it ever comes out, check it out. But Jeremy on the pod. So Jeremy, obviously he's my cousin, so we grew up together. I watched Jeremy. First time I really remember having a first memory of Jeremy was at Grandma and Grandpa's house. In our family get-togethers we would go up to Cottonwood. I remember you working at a jewelry store in Regensburg while you were going. Do you remember that?
Mm-hmm.
And before you know it, 20 years have passed. It was like 20 years ago or something like that. And so Jeremy, he has a really awesome story of just like I was writing down my notes for this show. I was looking at the notes of like what might symbolize this episode, and 3 words came to mind: recovery, loss, and family. Were the 3 words that I was looking at of like, okay, this might be able to describe a little bit of like what Jeremy's gone through like in his life. And so I really want to just like give the floor to you, man, and let's tell your story, however detailed or however little detail as you want. I'll ask you some questions after, and tell us a little bit about Jeremy Finn. Who is Jeremy Finn, and why is he on the Locked On Podcast?
So it's funny how through time and in my recovery, my story changes in the fact is obviously the details are there, but the changes are based on how I feel about it. So first time I ever gave my life story was in a treatment center. And part of what we did, one of the first things that we did is we wrote our story, our life story. Why are we here? What brought us to this point in addiction? When I first got into recovery, everything was everybody else's fault. Everything was, from where I was raised to, I had all these little animosities and things that had built up in my mind, and everything became such a blame shift, and it's weird how, as I'm going along and I'm developing in my recovery, how my opinion is changing and how much I want to say about my past. But you kind of have to an extent, because that's kind of what leads us to where we are now, essentially. The good, the bad, and the ugly, But my story really started, I mean, right off the bat from when I was born. I was born with club foot. So I spent pretty much up till I was 8 years old in and out of the hospital, surgeries, casts, recasting, just horror stories of, man, primary children's hospital, waking up to kids. I remember waking up in this room and your recovery room or whatever from your surgery or post-op, waking up in a room full of kids, some that had come out, some that were going in, kids covered in blood, different things like that. And that's kind of, you know, it's just, I just remember seeing and then having kids next to me, in the hospital and things that they've gone through and different things. And so, um, but it was kind of a tough start, because I think I think a lot of things kind of played into it. I had a lot of insecurities, I think, growing up. And then also part of that too is when my who I call my dad now, my stepdad, was my mom's sweetheart in high school. And when he decided to go on an LDS mission, she went on to Rick's College. And while she was there, she met my dad, who was a bamboozler, a salesman through and through. Great guy. But I joke, but no, but anyway, they fell in love, and I don't know, whatever they did. Yep. Got some of this. Anyway, and so, so I was born into a home that I think I was 2 years old when they finally got divorced. And and in the midst of all of that, I'm going through all these surgeries, and stuff like that. And it was hard. I mean, from an early age, I remember way far back. And I think, it's tough for any stepdad coming into a situation, as much as he has done so much for me in my life, so much. But I think there were some animosities towards me a little bit from the get-go, and and keep in mind, this is just things that because I played so many things through my head of why, because you're always asking the question, why? Why did things different? I had a great childhood, grew up with a family. We had good income. We traveled. We did a lot of things as a family. But there are a lot of challenges being a stepson, being good enough. And on top of having club foot, I really needed extra encouragement in my life to push forward. And it was hard because I didn't feel like, I guess, the time that I really got it. It was always, oh, it's okay. You can't be a basketball player. You can't be a football player because you have club foot. Instead of, no, that's no excuse. Push on, push forward. And so, and there was definitely, there's, no matter how you look at it, there was favoritism towards my brothers, and it really wore on me. And I think I was a dreamer. So I imagined myself being the best at so many things, but in reality was not. I wasn't putting in the work. I didn't put in the effort. And I think that was kind of how things started with me. And then, of course, along the way, instead, I never dared bring anything up. I just held everything in. And I think I held a lot of resentments, a lot of animosities, a lot of different things, but I was trying to cross the T's and dot the I's. I wanted to do everything that my family expected me to do, and it was hard, because I always felt like I was always looking for that "I'm proud of you," even though it came, it would always be outweighed by everything I'm not doing good enough. Do you know what I mean? And so it was really tough. And so, in and of itself, it was a tough childhood. I mean, with my club foot, my feet were literally bent. Finally, my grandma had pictures of them when I was born, and I had never seen them because she hid them from me. She didn't want me to see the severity. And so it wasn't till literally not long ago maybe 5, 6 years ago, maybe, that she finally said, "Oh, by the way, I have pictures of your feet." And so growing up, the only thing I ever saw was me and Cass.
Yeah.
And legitimately, my ankles were bent. My feet, instead of like this, were bent in and almost touching my ankle. And so, they in the surgeries, I remember when I was first born, because my bones were malleable and soft, they bent my feet out and just casted them bent out. My mom would tell me about how there was times of it, I'm sure through surgeries and stuff, I had blood coming out of my cast. One point I had cast all the way up to the hip with a bar between my legs, as a kid and, trying to learn to walk and,
God.
and it was just tough. It was a lot of, it was quite a challenge. And and of course I never wore shorts because I was born with genetic horrible calves. But on top of that, I didn't have the ability to work them.
Yeah.
Um, I had one foot worse than the other, and I can't point my toe on my left foot. Never been able to. I always walk with a little bit of a limp, and everybody always asks me, "Oh, are you limping? Did you hurt yourself?" I'm like, "No, I'm just walking lazy." Um, but anyway, and so that was kind of the start of everything, I think, and so I had all these expectations for myself built up in my head. And when they didn't come to fruition, I would really just get down on myself really bad, and I just, I really developed almost a hate for myself. I think you get to a point where you're not happy with yourself. And I don't know where this sense of I should be better than I am came from. But I think it's our natural way of how we create success within ourselves. We expect more out of ourselves than we're giving. But I was also then battling in the midst of that negativity towards you can't do it, you know. And that's really most of what I'm going to say about my childhood. I don't want to go into details. I used to go into details and it was, oh, it's this fault, this fault, this fault, this fault. Um, I went on a mission um, to Nashville, Tennessee, and I did really good. I surprised myself really. Um, in high school, I was a very motivated person. I had bought my cars, paid for my cars. I'd financed a car in high school, paid it off.
I
Um,
can't do that in my 30s, man.
man, I was on fire. It was the craziest thing, and I was just so motivated, and I did really good on my mission, but I've always been kind of easygoing, So, I would push it just far enough to be comfortable, but I was always afraid of the uncomfortable, I think. But so I got married because that was the first thing they tell you to do.
Yeah.
Don't go get married right now. Like now.
Yeah.
Don't allow yourself a chance falling some temptations.
Mm.
And so that's what I did, and it's funny because it's the same thing of what I expect of myself. But the hardest thing, when you're a kid and everybody asks you, what do you want to be when you grow up? Kids saying, I want to be a fireman. I want to be a policeman. I want to be a dad. I mean, that was it. And an actor, dad and an actor. But that was the biggest thing that I really wanted in life. And so I was really excited to start a life. And I think I just kind of went with the first thing that worked, you know. And it was good because I got my kids out of it. I got my three oldest boys, or my three of my boys, from my first marriage. But it was a tough marriage. I mean, we came from different worlds. She's from back east, I'm from Wyoming. It's just a different, such a different mindset and view on things. And so, especially in the church, I think too,
Yeah.
there's definitely a little bit of a different mindset. And so, we had our challenges. So one thing, I think the biggest, other than everything I faced in my childhood, the next biggest event in my life that really brought me down was because of going through a divorce and the closeness that I had with my mother. She was my world. I mean, she was the one person that I turned to for everything. She was my protector between me and my dad. When there was anything that seemed like it could be unfair, she made sure it wasn't. She was kind of she was just everything. I mean, we were best friends. She wasn't just my mom. And, I just have memories of sitting there and we would just sit and eat a salad and talk. And I could talk to her. And I was very open with everything in my life, every aspect of my life. And one thing that she always told me, because I would get down on these things and I would start blaming things, I remember she would always tell me, Jeremy, stop feeling sorry for yourself. And I thought she was picking me apart. I thought she was being a jerk, Screw you. Yes, okay. I'm not. I'm sorry for myself. What if you did this? What would you do? And it's funny, it's not till now that it's starting to sink in a little bit. I did do that. So instead of taking care of the problems in front of myself or confronting the problems, I just let them go. I just let everything go instead of standing up for things. But she was just so important to me in my life. And it's like in high school, I would bring friends home because they loved my mom. I mean, I had friends who were like, what if I was your stepdad? So my mom saw. And I remember even going shopping with her, being uberly protective.
I was done with my mom.
Because all the store guys were always trying to hit on my mom. Anyway, and so she ended up, getting breast cancer. And it was really hard because I remember when she started to find it and I was on my mission and she was just complaining about some pains and stuff. And she had just had my youngest brother, Dylan, when she was, how old was she? 40, I guess, when she had him. And so when I came home from my mission, I had a 1-year-old baby brother, and that was weird, 20-year difference. And so a lot of that was kind of like, oh, I think it's just because I'm nursing her. I think it's just because it's a milk duct or, different things. And I remember telling her, Mom, you've got to go get a second opinion, because the doctor that she was going to in Jackson was supposed to be so much better. Instead of turning her to a specialist, decided he was going to handle everything on his own. So when he was going and checking things, he would just turn her away and say, no, it's clogged milk duct. It's from nursing. Don't worry about it. No big deal. She'd go home, it would start hurting again. It would start swelling again. She'd go back in. Finally, they needed to do a biopsy. Instead of sending her off to a biopsy, he decided to try to do it himself. Can't puncture the, what they were trying to get him, the lump in her breast. And anyway, and I'm talking, this is years, up until we find out that she has cancer and the severity of it. So something that could have been caught.
Did you guys sue that guy?
Well, that's coming too.
Okay.
I've
never heard that.
Yeah. So it was a tough deal. It was 100% just, the guy wasn't doing his job. He wanted all that money. They didn't want to turn her away to somebody that knew what they were doing.
Yep.
And so anyway, finally, oh, hey, you have cancer. Because she finally said, okay, I'm not getting the information I need. Came down to the Huntsman. They do some tests. They're like, yeah, you're stage 4 cancer. And evidently, had told my dad, she's not going to live past 3 months. We never knew that. So it had already developed. It was a very aggressive cancer, and it was already spreading. And it spread into her lymph nodes. And so she ended up having to have a mastectomy. They had to remove a bunch of lymph nodes in her arm and different things and, and around that area. And her arm swelled up like a club. She couldn't bend her arm. So she just had this club with these compression sleeves. My mom was such a beautiful, beautiful woman. And so it was so hard to see these things start to happen. And it's like, and this was around Christmas time. Well, this was the summer before that Christmas, which would have been 2004. So I had my first son, Boston, who was 1 year old. I had a little brother who was 4. And that was the best Christmas Easter ever, because it was my mom. Even though all that was going on inside, she was her. And so we got that just awesome Christmas with her and my kids or my son and Dylan. And I see these pictures. And then that very next year to see the major change once that was discovered, and it was, I remember bringing her to radiation treatments. I remember, she loved Hawaii. It was her place. And so for 3 months,
It's like freak of
She lived there, man, for 3 months, you know?
Like, do you remember like the suitcase you used to bring back with like all like
Oh,
type of stuff? Like,
yes.
I remember Daryl used to have like one of those like bead necklaces.
Uh-huh.
I'm so glad because he'd wear it like in high school. Like,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
went, I was like, oh, it looks so cool on him, and she would bring
Yeah,
that
yeah.
It's
Little shark tooth necklaces.
thoughtful, like I wasn't her, I was just her nephew,
Yeah. But she brought back stuff for everybody.
Oh yeah, like poor suitcase
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and you guys were at our house all the time.
all the time.
I mean, yeah. So
She
you were
just took
close.
care of us. Yeah, she
Yeah.
just took. And like now, like we have a picture like on my parents' fridge, and I'll walk
Mhm.
past, and I'm like, man, she was like, with all due respect, a fox. Like,
Yeah,
she's so beautiful,
Well, and it was cool because not only was she that, anybody that ever talked about my mom talked about how loving and kind she was. You know, she was popular in high school and pretty, and my dad was the star football player and, that old thing. But like, I just remember even guys that worked for us. Let's say, I got so much crap in high school and they teased me, but your mom was always so good to me. And unfortunately, it led to a lot of crushes. And I get crushed when clearly she was not interested.
Yeah,
She's just nice.
yeah.
And she always had that friend, the next door neighbor friend that was just like, she just scooped up people that needed help,
Yeah.
and encouragement. She just was she was so inspiring. I mean, without, religion or not, she was the most angel-like person that I've ever met, honestly. And anyway, and so just remember that, week before she passed away, right before Christmas, that was hard. Hardest part about it is Christmas was her holiday. I mean, she made everything special, everything. But anyway, right before that Christmas, man, it's just, we finally find out. And I remember I would always go up to her room and I would just hold her hand while she was on the bed. And and she would express her concerns and her fears and she would cry and because she was afraid of dying. And I just hold her hand for hours. I'd gotten a week off of work. Daryl was on his mission in Russia and he got to come home for a couple weeks. And so I took a week off and came up and got to spend that week with her. I went back to work and that week she passed away. For the hardest thing I've ever dealt with in my life. And then her last trip out of Star Valley was to see my second son, Berkeley, born. She never left Star Valley after that. So we were in the hospital and she would just sit there and hold Berkeley and kept falling asleep. Couldn't figure out why. She'd ask for a cup of water. Next, she's spilled water all over herself. And she's holding Berkeley and she's dropping Berkeley. We're like, what is going on? Mom, oh, wait, what are you doing?
It's dropping.
Yeah. And come to find out it spread into her lungs and she was getting enough oxygen. So that's why she could never leave Valiant because then she was stuck to oxygen, wherever she could bring her oxygen. And so, but anyway, and so it was special. I'm glad that she got to meet my kids. But the biggest shame on the whole planet Earth is that she would have been an amazing grandma.
Yeah.
And my kids never got to experience that. I mean, really at that point in my life is when everything took a turn for me.
What about that doctor though? Did you somehow?
Oh yeah, sorry. Yes. Yeah. So yeah,
the vengeance side of me is.
So we talked. I know. Yeah. No, and that was a whole deal. And I kept. The problem was is she had. So they had gotten a lawyer, and I mean they had everything.
The doctor did, or you're?
No, we did.
Okay.
We're gonna. Yeah, we were. We're gonna do that. We're gonna go after it because it was if anything else. And I mean, my family had money. It wasn't about the money.
Yeah.
It was about like, good heck, this is malpractice. Yep. You were more concerned about money than her life. And so the problem is mom needed to do a statement. And I said, Mom, you've got to do that statement. You've got to do that statement. Why? It's not like I'm going to die. I've got time. And so then I'm like, oh, great. How do I, and this is the point we kind of know, like, hey, she's not going to pull out. She doesn't know it, but we do. And I couldn't for the life of me. I mean, up until she started to lose her mind, she was going to survive. Actually, up until the day she died, she was going to survive. So how do you tell somebody that's dying that is dying, they need to hurry? You can't.
No way to do it.
I can't say, Mom, actually, the doctor said you're a goner. You can't do that. And so when she started to lose her mind, when I spread into her mind, she couldn't give a statement. They wouldn't accept a statement, you know, because she wasn't all there. So we had nothing. That statement was what we had to have. So it just kind of fell through. There's nothing we could do about it. And I remember it was just so frustrating because I can't tell my mom, no, mom, you got to do this. You got to do it now.
Yeah, hopefully this guy's not still practicing.
Oh, he is. Nothing happened, man. Not even a slap on the hand.
Jeez.
No, I can guarantee. Yeah.
So if he's still, that's like you talk about the issues of like the American healthcare system, where it's like, it's not set up to, like the issue, the criticism they have, it's like, it's not set up to like actually get you healed. It's about maximizing the profit of the illness that you currently have. So this guy did. Freaking milked it for everybody was gone until it was like far gone, even like fixed.
He's not qualified to do a biopsy. He's not qualified. It's not his job. But yet, he's a doctor and he's going to do it himself. I mean, that's just what it boiled down to. So,
I've never heard that story.
yeah. And that was a lot we didn't really talk about too, because, those legalities and everything. And, anyway, so you couldn't tell my mom.
Yeah. I think of this a lot, because when I was a kid, I remember like all that happened. I remember December 23rd, right? When it happened, I remember the sunset that day. I remember like my mom coming home and like a semi-panic, and I was only like maybe in middle school during this time. And there were like all these rumors that like Daryl had come home from Russia, but like nobody knew for sure.
Yeah.
And so like I remember when I found out that he did come home, I was thinking of like how, like if it was me, I don't know if Daryl listens to this or not, but like if it was me, I had just said goodbye to my mom. I was getting ready to go on a plane back to Russia. I don't think I could do it, man. I think I'd be like, you know what? Screw this. I'm staying home. I'm not like going back to Russia, like of all places. Like kudos to him, like your whole family. Like I'm sure like all of them, like Melissa in high school. Like, gosh, what an awful. Like I can't imagine my mom dying and I'm 35.
Yeah.
And she was 16. Like I can't imagine. And I'm sure like the whole family like was going through like this crucible like during that time. But for whatever reason, like the Daryl going back to Russia story, yeah, I don't think I can do it.
I know how exactly.
I don't know. Like he
literally was there holding her hand when she passed.
They'd have to,
and then the funeral.
Oh, no.
And what was the worst part?
What?
Christmas was 2 days later.
And moms are peak during Christmas.
Yeah.
Like Christmas is like my mom. She has her Christmas decorations up 24/7, and like she's got my niece and nephew's Christmas presents purchased by June.
Oh yeah. Well, imagine,
Yeah.
Here it's our holidays, our Christmases were so awesome.
Yeah.
Too awesome.
Yeah.
Like I feel pressure that I gotta, do all this crap for my kids, to the point of, about sinking yourself because of what my mom did for us, and it was just the hardest flipping Christmas. I mean, not many smiles. Here we are. We just lost our flipping mom. We're going to bury her after Christmas. Here's these presents from mom, and mom's not there.
It's something like a horror.
Well, there's a movie about it, and I can't watch it.
What is it?
What's it called? Like something Christmases, 2 Christmases. I can't remember what the heck. What's it called? There's a Christmas movie. It's exactly this, that the mom dies right before Christmas. Now, the problem is the dad in the movie just really held them together and was loving and kind, and they had this marvelous Christmas together. It was obviously very humbling, a very humble Christmas, but super positive. And my dad's so bah humbug that it was the most awkward Christmas I've ever had. He hates Christmas. I mean, so there just wasn't that. The household was not a happy, smiling place.
I feel for your dad too.
Oh yeah, well yeah, and the same thing. Like how you celebrate her holiday without her.
Your dad. If I don't know if Dad Lee watches Blocked Off podcast, but if he does, like it's always like I like what every once in a while, like me and Lee, like when I used to work at Playground, like we'll be talking and stuff, and she passed away 22 years ago now, 23.
Good heavens. Well, 2023, it's 2026 essentially, right?
23 years. 23 years. And he'll talk about Terry, and then he'll just like go quiet and then just like gaze off into the distance and just like leave the room. Like even still, like all this time, like he's remarried and all these different things, and he's like the like he's just still so, like in love and like such a
Yeah.
like who he is, and I can't imagine like it's such an injustice. Like it makes me so
Yes.
like the whole thing, like, obviously like as a religious person, like you ask like Daryl's getting on a plane to go back to Russia, right? Like to be a missionary. And I can't imagine what was going through his head. And like your dad, like he finds someone that he obviously loves and he loses her with still 2/3 of his life still to go. Breaks my
Right
breaks
off
my
the
damn
bat, he
heart.
almost loses.
Yeah.
The love is crushed from hiding his.
Yeah, he's lucky to get her back. Yeah, no
girl,
kidding.
and she goes off and Dear John's him. Which is just, and yeah. And so like I said, that's part of why I'm careful when I say, because there's, I think in my recovery, I'm starting to just really see the whole picture.
Yeah.
I think we like to take all of our problems and we narrow them down. There are problems that affected me. But what was everybody else feeling? What was everybody else going through? No, none of us are trying to hurt each other on purpose.
Yeah.
We're not. I mean, but we take everything personal. Where did that come from? Where as human beings do we decide that everything is about us?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's why my story's changed. When I originally told this, it was just all complaints about, being smacked as a kid, because I'm a step kid.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I mean, yeah, I probably got chucked around a little more than my brothers. I know I did.
Yeah.
Like, for example, at one time, I remember there was a D written in pencil on the wall. My brothers are Dane and Derek. I'm Jeremy. Okay. Common denominator. Jeremy, why would I draw a D? And guess who got blamed for it?
We tried.
That kind of thing. And so, but anyway, and so, yeah. And so
So you said that happened, and then that is when your life took a turn.
really did, because but it's kind of my fault because I made her the glue.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that was probably hard on my ex-wife too. I know it was because she brought it up, but she was who I turned to, not my wife. It was my mom. Everything was my mom. Whenever there was a problem, I turned to my mom. And I think I just got too reliant on her to the point that when she passed, what do? I don't have that person anymore. I'm on my own, And there was other tough things. I mean, like I said, my ex-wife, my kids' mom, I remember even after 2 weeks, I'm telling you, it's not been till fairly recently that I've been able to get my mind around myself to the point I am now. It's taken a heck of a road to realize a lot of these things, but she flat told me, she says, Jeremy, okay, it's been 2 weeks. That's enough. Stop grieving. You're driving me crazy.
Oh my gosh, really?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you're driving me crazy.
Dude.
I don't want to hear about it anymore. You're done. I'm like, and there was a lot of stuff like that.
That's
Bad. Yeah. And, but you know what? But and like I said, that's the reason I think things went south for me, because I had put so many eggs in the me and my mom basket.
Yeah.
That once she was gone, I didn't know where to go. What am I going to do? Where do I, and instead of relying on myself, all my avenues are gone, and so that, and then of course, then I'm developing resentments against my ex-wife, and I'm starting to get angry, because that's the degrees of mourning is, first you're heartbroken, then you're sad, then you're mad, then you're blaming yourself, so on and so forth. And I just was mad. And by her doing that, then I started developing huge resentments towards her, and of course there were some other things, obviously, but I'm not going to go into that. It doesn't really matter. But so that happened. Big, huge first thing. Up to that point, I had really never dealt with death. I had all my grandmas and grandpas. I had all my parents, all my sons. I mean, clear back to 5th generation grandma. I got a 5th generation photo.
It's just common that people like tell their aunt.
Man, I had flipping grandmas and great grandmas on every angle. You know what I mean? Like I had so many grandmas and grandpas. And I remember kids like, oh yeah, well, my dad's like 80. I'm like, yeah, my grandparents been dead a long time ago. I'm like, oh,
My mind.
yeah, my grandma's still 30, And so, but anyway, the next biggest thing is obviously things started to kind of unwind in my marriage and everything else. And there was a lot with that. And she, and then, and there were things that led up to it, obviously that I had had enough, and I couldn't do it anymore. I mean, I just felt very nitpicked and in the state of mind that I was in, just very vulnerable, very vulnerable state of mind. And I kind of let everybody walk all over me. I didn't stand up for myself or anything. And so when she decided she was going to leave with the kids, I mean, I could have, and I'm thinking about this now. It took all these years. I didn't stand up for my kids. I should have went and got a lawyer. I should have done everything in my power to keep my kids. And she took them and moved to Indiana, 26 hours away.
Freaking Indiana too.
Yeah, I know. Tell Bob he loves. He loves Indiana.
Okay. You don't want to say anything.
But yeah, and it's because her parents were there. She didn't want to do anything on her own. And, legally, with just a simple word of no, she's not moving away with my kids wouldn't have been gone. And so when that happened, there was a sense of relief that I could finally be free and be who I wanted to be. But on top of losing them, I took a truck and trailer and drove them to drop them off. And that was the next hardest thing that that was probably the worst day of my life. Here I'm in this big, and I'm driving and I've got this big trailer full of my house. I had nothing left when she left the house. I built that house. In fact, I was so motivated. That was my third home. And I was not yet 30 years old. I bought my first home at the age of 22. Sold it, made money. Bought my next house. It was brand spanking new. Built in subdivision. Gorgeous home. And sold it and made money. When we because of jobs and certain circumstances, we decided we moved to Star Valley. My ex-wife decides I'll move to Star Valley, but I got to have a brand new house, a gorgeous house. So I built it. I built it. I general contracted. I've never general contracted a thing in my life. I generaled and built this house while having a full-time job so that she could have her palace. And it was gorgeous. And it was, but it's one thing to have someone build a house. That's a lot of stress on a marriage. But when you are the guy building the house, it just adds a whole nother level.
Yeah.
And I did that. And that's how motivated I was back then. I remember Grandpa Marv just so impressed with me. Like, man, Jeremy has got on the ball, and I did.
Yeah.
Guy, you go in my driveway and I've got cars and campers and four-wheelers and beautiful house in the best, nicest neighborhood in the valley,
Yeah.
I was flying high. So imagine that. And then now we're packing up all of this hard work and we're shipping it 26 hours away, along with the most important thing in my entire life, my children. Now I remember driving and I've got my kids, they rode with me and their mom drove the car that I gave her, in the divorce. And I just remember looking at my little Lincoln, who's here with me today. And he's 1 year old, and just seeing him back in that little car seat and seeing my boys back there, their smiling face, and I'm about to drop them off. They pull up to her family's house, and they were all just horrible to me.
Yeah.
They wouldn't even let me in the house to go to the bathroom. And I'm sitting here just holding, every last ounce of strength, because I was about to leave my kids 26 hours away. My entire life is sitting in this trailer and in Indiana right now. And I remember just, hopping in my car in the truck and trailer, and I'm headed for home, and I start bawling, just sobbing. I mean, I had to pull over. I couldn't even drive. I couldn't even clear my eyes. I was crying so bad. I remember calling my biological dad and just saying, I don't know how I'm going to do this. I don't know how I'm going to get through this. And he says, Jeremy, you don't drive. You're not in a state to do anything right now. I bought you a plane ticket. Go to the Indianapolis airport and come fly out here and come spend a couple of days with us. And we did. It was great. That was a huge help. It kind of got my mind off things a little bit, But it was then that I started kind of making some poor decisions. I'd gone out with my sister, who was actually, she didn't drink or anything, but her friends did. And so I went to a dance club. And it just started a downward spiral from there. I got home, and instead of just being upset and saying, okay, I've lost all these things, how do I get back on the saddle? It was, you know what? I had clubfoot, stepdad that, doesn't love me as much as my brothers. Lost my mom, most important person in my life. Just lost my kids, my family, my home. I still had the home. It just was really empty.
We went to what makes a home, Like,
yeah, they are.
Yeah, like I was watching, like I don't mean to be like a movie reference here, or a video game reference here, but there's a scene from. Are you a big Last of Us nerd or no?
Yeah, I like.
Okay, so at the end of The Last of Us 2, Ellie, after she goes on like her revenge journey to get the person that killed her dad, Joel, she has like this ultimatum with like her and her wife, who they have this home in Wyoming. It's like, hey, if you go do this, when you come home, this will just be a house. And so Ellie leaves, she comes back, and like sure as shit, like the home is still there.
Yeah.
But the color's gone. The noises are gone. The dirty dishes are gone. The unmade beds are gone.
Yeah.
Like everything. The building is still there, but it's no longer a home. It's the epitome of an example of when a home becomes a house. At that point, what is it? It's just a thing, Like, it's just a void of meaning. It's almost like, I think, more painful to be inside than not. Like,
it is.
I had a guy on my podcast once who talked about he went through a divorce and he lost his kids, and he couldn't be in his house because like the silence was so loud that it gave him anxiety.
It's hard. And that actually leads me to my next mistake in life, which is perfect because that's exactly it. I came home and I was pissed. Like, I am nobody. I'll never be anybody. I can't even be a dad. The one thing I wanted to be in my life, I can't even be. This was just ripped from me, and like I said, it wasn't ripped from me. There was problems. And
you definitely fought. I should have fought it. Yeah.
You know what I mean? But that's what I mean. That's, at that time, everything was a blame shift. Everything was a blame shift. And all it really did is justify, I don't know why, and I've always been this way, is whenever things don't go my way of retaliating is doing the worst thing I possibly can. And I think it's because I didn't like myself. Do you know what I mean? Oh, yeah. You want to see hurt, Jeremy? Let's just go put you in the ditch.
Yep.
In a homeless shelter in Utah. That's where you'd belong. You know what I'm saying?
Did you open a homeless shelter? Oh, okay.
I didn't.
Okay.
I almost did.
Oh, okay. But no, it's interesting. But you mentioned that it's like you want to show everybody else, so you're gonna hurt yourself.
Yeah.
It's like I'm gonna show you.
Yeah. Like 5 minutes. What does this do to you?
Yeah.
What's this do to you?
Like,
yeah. Exactly. And that's what it is.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, I'm gonna freaking just.
I'll show them.
I'm gonna wreck it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly. That's exactly. So then I go back to this shell, but every part of that house is a memory of my kids and my, and things that we did. And I worked so hard for the house. I didn't need that house. I was just fine living in Grover in 100-plus-year-old home falling over. I was fine.
Oh, yeah.
I don't need that. I don't need, a brand new, wonderful home. But here I've got it. Well, I built it, so I have a little bit of pride in it.
Yeah, that's for sure.
But anyway, and so then it's exactly right. And so then I'm, the only escape I could find was alcohol. And I was never a druggie. I mean, but I dabbled in it all. I had to taste it all. In high school, I was a pretty dang good kid, but you know what? Just to throw a wrench in things, I decided to start smoking weed. And I did that until I got caught by my dad. Whole other story.
Oh man,
great story, but horrible. I still cringe thinking about it. How awkward it was. I drive home with Joel and my dad,
dude.
After I got caught at the concert. You were trying to buy weed from the neighbor. Anyway, long story. Long story.
I never heard that.
But, and I started, so in that point, even high school, I kind of drink a little, I kind of smoke a little.
Yeah.
But then I straightened up, but I was still dabble. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Wasn't a partier, but if someone said, hey, want to go smoke some weed? I didn't say no, or drink or whatever, until I got to be a senior right before my mission band, because I put everything into myself. But it wasn't for myself. It was to prove to my dad I was good enough. It was never for myself. You know what I mean?
Yep.
I didn't care enough about myself. I wanted that. I'm proud of you. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, like 35, like every time my parents say they're proud of me, it's like, it's all cocaine thing. I'm like, tell me what I do. Tell me how
You
to
have.
Yeah.
Super encouraging.
I do. Even still, like, I don't like, I don't think I'm proud of you enough.
I know. Well, that's just it. Yeah.
I want
There's no. Add something. There's got to be another word.
Yeah, yeah.
You can add to that.
Yeah, give me just, a little bit of just,
Yeah,
do something like that for too much. But
where's my bus?
yeah, but there's something, I don't know, like being told that, like, the people that, like, made you being proud of, like, their creation, like, I don't know, it just feels, it's like cocaine. It feels good.
I just wish that I wouldn't have put so much emphasis on that. I'm proud of you.
Yeah.
Because I took away all of my own enjoyment.
Yeah.
For my accomplishments. Got my Eagle Scout. What's that worth now?
I think it's even negatives now.
I did.
With Boy Scout stuff.
Like, you're the last Scouts I saw at the Red Baron.
Oh, you're like,
whoa, what is going on here?
It's like, you guys still have the
wear
that?
It was just interesting. Yeah. I didn't know it came in a skirt.
Yeah. That's fun.
But anyway, so I did it. I graduated high school. I graduated seminary. I was high in most of the seminary.
To be fair, I think
I made it
to be high to get like especially back in I think seminary now is a little bit better, but back in the day, dude.
Oh man,
such a drag.
That's a lot's changed. Everything was so, everything is lightened up a lot compared to when definitely when we were kids. But anyway, and so I came home and I started drinking, man. And I started getting tattoos. That was actually right before my wife left. I got my first tattoo, and that was kind of the straw that broke the camel's back.
Why was she so hung up on that? Like, why?
It's a control thing, honestly, is what I think.
I gotta be honest. Like, maybe this is controversial, but I actually don't think tattoos are bad at all.
No, well, and I don't think they are controversial anymore. Really,
good.
I don't wear them for people to be like. It's funny because I have all these tattoos, and I try to cover them because they're not for anybody but me.
Oh, interesting.
I'm not a flashy person at all.
Because I think they're beautiful, man. And I mean, look at like my room that we're in. Like, I decorate the walls because it's things that are meaningful to me, and they're like, I'm not degrading anything. Like, I think I'm making my house more beautiful by like this stuff I have on my wall. I'm just saying the tattoo. Like, sometimes that people show me their tattoos that have like I remember the first time that my mindset changed on tattoos. I was playing in an all-star game in high school for basketball. My roommate he took off his shirt and he had all these ribbons on his chest. A yellow one and a pink one and a red one. And I was like, what are your ribbons, man? He's like, oh, I've had cancer. Speaking of cancer, it's run amok through my family. So I wanted that of prostate cancer, I wanted that of brain cancer, I wanted that of breast cancer. And so when my family member dies of cancer, I do the pin on my chest of like, I'm like, that's so beautiful. Amazing. I'm like, why would anyone, you grow up in tattoos are so like, you can't get in the celestial kingdom with a tattoo. And then you see something like that, it's got so much meaning for this person. And it's just his way of honoring the dead. And it's something I thought was beautiful. And so my mind that moment, I still remember the guy, Mitch Roberts from Green River High School. When he told me that, just something clicked in my head where it's like, no, tattoos are not bad. Like tattoos bring beauty to this world.
Like anything else, they can represent for bad. They can represent good.
Maybe not so good, but for the most part,
But for the most part, and there are some people who just get tattooed to be, I'm a rebel. Yeah, I have a tattoo. And that was I'm saying, no, me. Yeah. But like the funniest thing is, my first tattoo was a memorial of my mom that I drew. It had little hibiscus flowers. I had a skull on it because I love skulls. I've done to, dad's on. I don't know. Angel wings, and then it had. I did the banner on the bottom. It says "Mom." Just because it's funny, ironic, the mom tattoo. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. A little banner that says mom. Yeah. That's cool. But because we also had a really fun relationship, but she would find that ironic and funny. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yep. But anyway, so it was a way of expressing myself. It was also a way of memorializing my mom because, think about it. You're putting something on your body that's not coming off. Yep. it's not a comfortable thing to get put on your body either.
No.
And aren't we? I mean, we're all about sacrifice, right? I mean, everything that we do is a sacrifice for something, or that we're taught to do, right? And so it was something that meant to me, but I will be honest though, and my dad got this out. I remember my brother, I can remember talking. It also was kind of an FU to my ex-wife. I will be honest. I mean, it's funny because you don't think about those things until you think about them,
Mhm.
but it was. I was mad at her. I was tired of being controlled. You can't swear. We don't watch R-rated movies. You can't, no, you're not going to do this. You're not going to do that. Going to a movie with friends, and she finally lets loose. We're going to watch Chainsaw Massacre in Jackson, went to dinner. She won't get out of the car.
Why?
Because she was going to see an R-rated movie. But she just agreed. That's why we drove to Jackson.
But she can just wait there while you go sit by yourself?
And I couldn't move either. You will sit in this car with me. We're not going to that movie. And our friends were like, well,
I have to go in the car.
yeah. Like the ultimate strong arm, you know what I mean? Yeah. And so anyway, that was kind of it. So anyway, so I think the tattoo was what it was. It was kind of an FU.
Yeah.
That sucks because I'm not taking away from what it was, but you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then it was kind of like either you get rid of that tattoo or I'm going to divorce you. And my attitude was go nuts. I've had enough anyway. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so not only did I not remove it, I don't even know if I had the technology to remove that. I don't know. I'm sure as hell not going to remove my tattoo. I wouldn't got it finished. And, anyway, when she left. So I don't think that was ultimately the thing, but but anyway, yeah. But it does. And all my tattoos, whether the pictures themselves have meaning or just where I was at in my life when I got them. Do you know what I mean?
Yep.
I have Japanese stuff all over my right arm. Have I been to Japan? No. Am I Japanese? No. Do I love the traditional art of the Japanese tattoo? Yes. I went all through high school in art. I love art. Why would I not have tattoos?
Yeah.
I'm an OCD weirdo that I love the look of ink on skin.
Mm-hmm.
How weird is that? And it's a texture thing. Like, even though there's no texture. Like, I just love the look of it. It just really appealed to me, And so, yeah. I met my tattoo artist who ended up becoming a very good friend of mine. And all of our tattoos were experiences that we would have together and we'd have fun while we were doing them. And we were putting our minds together in our artistic ways and abilities. And we created what's on my body together as friends. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And yeah, there's little hidden meanings and little bits here and there. But the point is it was the bond with my friend that makes them so great to me. They're where I was at in my life when I got them. Everybody has a scar and has a story about that scar.
Yeah.
And it's usually a pride. There's usually some pride in that scar. This is what I suffered for that scar, right? Same thing with tattoos. I mean, that's where I was at in my life, what I was doing. I can tell you exactly where I was at mentally and everything else when I got the tattoos. You know what I mean? And so, yeah. And so that was the straw that broke the camel's back. So I got to know them. Well, what did that do? It opened doors to partying. And as I'm going through the divorce, it was just this huge bird, a huge FU, I don't know if we're supposed to swear on this.
I think it's very normal.
Yeah. Sometimes, don't even get me going because
okay.
I have what Daryl called bar talk.
Okay.
Just if I start swearing too much, you say Jeremy bar talk.
No, do your thing. It's your podcast.
Yeah.
It's your people.
Well, and I don't really need to swear this, but anyway, so yeah. And then, I just started getting in with these friends and I started partying. I started to see a whole nother side of life because you think about the beginning of my life, most people do that when they're in college. But instead, I'm ready to raise a family. I was not ready to raise a family. I was pretty dang responsible to do it. I really was. I had my stuff together. I had my crap together. But as soon as she left, and it was, how can I hurt myself the most? Because this is your fault, Jeremy. As much as I tried to blame her and blame, other circumstances, at the end of the day, I hated myself. I failed. And so, but then on top of that, and I think not everybody follows this line because people that truly have it mentally together don't go down that road. But I needed someone to fill a spot that was empty in me, in my home. I've got a home that I built with all these kids running around, and now it's silent. The furniture is all picked apart. I've got my little couch that I had in college, and this beautiful home. And now all my beautiful things that I bought for them were gone. Most importantly, no more sound of kids playing, no more family dinners. I used to love to cook. I was the cook in the family. Why am I going to cook now? I don't care enough about myself to make a wonderful meal, and I just started falling apart. And I went and married my youngest son's mom. Well, I didn't, it wasn't the intention. Kind of got bribed into marrying my son's mom. My dad paid for a trip to Hawaii if we'd get married.
Oh, interesting.
And now he's like, I shouldn't have pushed that.
Man.
But I did it to fill a void. She was fun and we partied together. It was great. Man, did we drink. I couldn't get up on the roof to do Christmas lights unless I had my Limerita. They'd just come out. You had to race in Star Valley to get the last case. Man, I just stick them in my pockets and just freaking slam them. I'm scared of heights, but if I drink a few beer, boy, I'm good to go. Empire State Building, don't worry about it.
Come on. Yeah. What are they called? What are they called?
Limerita.
Oh, a couple of Limerita. You go.
Good, yeah.
Okay, very cool.
And it just was like a curse. But that's what I'm starting to get is, hey, when I drink this, I'm not feeling sorry for myself. I'm not me anymore.
Yeah.
I'm just a distorted version of myself, a very broken, distorted version of myself. And so that was my way to bury everything that had happened. I didn't confront a single thing. I just buried it with alcohol. I drowned it out. And we started partying. And, I still was kind of holding it together a little bit, but I kept having to push the envelope. We had crews. Then all of a sudden, I want to get a motorcycle. And for some reason in my mind, what can I do with a motorcycle to do even worse? Go join an MC. I get in the motorcycle world.
Oh, man.
And the MC world. And I joined the Fuckets.
That's funny because, one of my questions, I don't interrupt, but one of my questions for y'all doing this right now is so you can get a drink.
Yeah.
If you had to have an actor that were to play you in your movie, who would it be? Who do you think this actor should be to play Jeremy Finn in his own movie?
I mean, Channing Tatum, just based on the physique and good looks.
Yeah,
Oh, I'm
obviously.
just kidding.
Yeah, that was actually one of my recommendations was because I
Yeah.
think that he could both do, he has the physique, but he also has the humor.
Right. Mark Wahlberg would be another one.
Okay.
Along those lines.
My choice, though, I put Channing Tatum.
Channing Tatum was kind of a...
Channing was up there with mine because I think you pull off your humor. The other one was a guy named Charlie Hunnam. Do you know who that is? You ever seen Sons of Anarchy?
Oh, yeah.
He's the main character.
Oh, yeah. Charlie. Yeah.
Okay, I think.
Sorry, I know that. Well, yeah, but see, I was in the MC community, so I had a hard time watching Sons of Anarchy.
Oh, okay. There's definitely Channing
because it was I nitpicked it.
Okay, so it's definitely
We don't
Channing
do that.
Okay.
We don't do that. That's not how it is.
Okay, so it's definitely Channing Tatum.
So there you go.
Okay,
Yeah.
interesting.
Mostly from good looks and no,
The humor too.
humor, physique, yeah.
Okay.
And so it's funny because there's not a whole lot of my humor coming out because it's like serious talk. But
What's funny is I actually worked out in Channing Tatum's home gym once. Did I know this story? So we did a fundraiser. He has a home in a place called Ojai, California. And the president of my board at my nonprofit, he used to work undercover narcotics for the Department of Homeland Security.
yeah,
One of his undercover informants, to earn his citizenship,
Yeah.
he had to provide him intel, and my guy John would get him citizenship in the United States. That guy is really good at growing grapes, and so when Channing,
is that code word for something or
no, legitimate winery, yeah.
Just kidding.
So he's probably good at growing. He's really good at growing grapes. So when Channing Tatum made his killing, he bought a vineyard in a place called Ojai, California, and hired this guy to run his estate. So my guy on my board was doing a fundraiser for me in Ojai, California, but didn't have a place to stay. And so Channing Tatum was busy filming a movie in Bulgaria. And so we got to stay in Channing Tatum's house on his vineyard in Ojai, California, and work out in his barn gym, which is awesome. And that shower, dude, I've never felt so clean. It had 12 faucets all at the same time. And the shampoo that I used,
it was just top of the line.
dude, it was awesome.
Yeah.
was awesome. And I looked at it on Amazon. It's like $300.
Did you use his bar of soap just to say you did?
No, I didn't.
just
You know, fine. I would have. I could
blow the hair off.
there's be no hair. I'm not taking this with me. But anyway, yeah, change him. So, but you joined,
Awesome.
yeah, so you joined MC.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I joined MC. It's if anybody knows anything about the MC world, it's a one-piece patch, but it's an MC. And vital.
What they call
What's that? The fuckets with a PH.
I don't know.
So you may have heard an F word. It's not an F word. It's a PHF word. And it's basically a skull hand flipping the bird was the,
Yeah.
and it all had
That's
meaning, it's like all, and I don't know why I did it. It's just, yeah, it was another avenue, another way to, you know what I mean? To give it to myself, I guess. But it was a lot of fun and there was a lot of camaraderie and it was a lot of fun. Well, back then it was fun because, it was, they're one piece. They're not out there causing trouble. They got in fights and stuff like that, of course. They took care of their own, kind of thing, but they weren't out there they weren't pushing drugs or, From there, as medications, she just, part of that bipolar, she just started going after, sleeping with people behind my back, and a lot of them, and it was very, very hard. I remember going on a business trip and calling and begging her not to jump ship and head to Oregon or Washington after some guy, random guy. You know what I mean? And I'm like, please don't. And I just, and I literally got to the point I just accepted, okay, I'm in a relationship where she's not faithful to me, but I don't want to lose another family. I'm going to stay. And I really put myself through a lot. And I had hacked into her Facebook. I had hacked it because I have to know everything. That's just how my mind works. I have to be able to make sense of everything. I've got to know what's going on at all times. So my mind doesn't ever shut off. Just always goes. And I hacked in there and I was watching her cheat on me right in front of my own face.
Gosh.
Watching pictures going back and forth. Even one guy that's like, I would never cheat. I would never cheat. You're married and I would never tear a family apart. My mom did that to our family. I never would be that guy. Next, here's a freaking dick pic coming across because she had said, because she started sending stuff. All of a sudden the hormones kick in and now all of our morals go out the door.
Yeah.
And then there's pictures and I see my son in the background.
Oh, no.
And I would sit there. I'm supposed to be working and I'm stewing on this stuff happening. And I'm telling you, it took me just mentally, just wrecked me. I put myself through so much through all this. And on top of that, she tried to kill me 5 times.
Oh my gosh. Dude.
Tried to stab us. Me and her brother were running around the kitchen. She's got a kitchen knife. Took one swing, about sticks it right in my son's head. Just crazy stuff.
Dude.
Tried to run us off a bridge. If I can't have our son, none of us can. I'm going to kill us both. It was bad. It was bad. I don't think people quite realize how bad it is. Bad.
That is bad. If you're in a relationship like this, watch on YouTube.
Yeah.
Get out.
Get out.
This is not good.
I'm not kidding. I always had blood running down my face and my cell phone was always destroyed.
Like, what happened?
And I'd go to work and my brother's there like, Jeremy, what happened to your head?
I fell down on the ice.
I literally felt like a victim. Yeah. I'm like the girl's role of abuse,
Yeah.
I hit my head on the coffee table. I slipped on the ice and my phone evidently fell out too, and it's broken. My hand's broken. And it's clearly a wound of,
Yep.
You couldn't get that on a vehicle. But man, that just wrecked me. I'm already going down a dark path. And then all this is happening too. And basically the cops were called constantly, not by me. I'm in an MC. You don't call the cops. Neighbors that are hearing this happen or watching it happen. I never called the cops, not one time. Every time it was a neighbor or someone else.
Was this in what's that community called in
Rockbridge. Yeah. Yeah. Got the Minsons calling.
They were the ones calling.
Yeah, everybody. They would hear and see if, the reality is everybody knew what was going on. And so, and when she tried to run us off the bridge, it was someone off into the Swift Creek Apartments projects. Watch this whole thing happen right in front of,
That was a lot of the fins.
Yeah, well, everybody by that, like, oh, there's a fence. But the cops finally said, and I had a restraining order against her, and I kicked her out of my house. And I put her in a trailer, my camper downtown in Afton. And I'm like, get out of my house, get the hell out of my house.
Yeah, no kidding.
Just stay away from us. And I had crews during that time. There's just a lot that happened. It just was a lot. So the cops said, Jeremy, you need to move out of here. That's the only way you're going to get rid of us. You got to get out of here. So I packed my things. I sold my house. Big, big mistake. I mean, I made pretty good money on my house, but when I built it, I had 80,000 equity right out of the gates. The economy started to go south around 2008, 2009. But I still made money. But it didn't go towards my other house. It went to my first ex-wife and me, and I bought another bike.
Mm.
And I bought a bunch of buckle. Paid off my buckle account. I spent $2,000 more, kind of thing. And yeah, I was gone quick. Stupid. Anyway, and I moved out of Falls, where the bike club was. And then things happened within that whole organization of that. And next, when I'm looking at the Silent Sinners, Sport Club of the Sons of Silence, and start kind of working my way into that world, to even deeper, And it just was and I think that the chaos, for some reason I started to find comfort in chaos, essentially, And one thing that I have not mentioned this entire time, because this all comes back to it, but the biggest thing that I developed along the way when things were not perfect or great was the gym. That's where that came in. That came in when I was in Idaho Falls, and that was my escape. I would go for 2 hours. I had my friends there. I had a really good friend, my buddy Jed, and him and I would work together, and we are going to be bodybuilders. And we kind of knew some of the guys in town, some of the doctors and different things. Dr. Willie was his name, and he had written a book called Better Than Steroids, and it was awesome. It was a whole diet plan, exercise plan, endorsed by Jay Cutler. And I just met people through that whole lifestyle. And I'll tell you what, no matter how hard or bad things got, the gym was my escape.
The older I get, the more I appreciate the gym. Because like you said, the economy can go bad at any given moment. You can invest all your money and the economy goes bad, or like, let's say like in your dad's case, people stop dying.
Yeah.
Polyguard's freaking toast, man.
Freaking millennium, you're out of business.
Yeah, you're out of business.
It's good.
Okay. You start losing, but it's like, I'd like to return this casket.
Yeah. I'd like to return this casket. Before it got to the,
Yeah. A relationship, even like
Yeah.
a relationship, like you can give so much into it, but it's like a relationship between two different people. If they're not going to him out, it's not going to work out. The gym, I think, is one of the only places on this planet that you get out exactly what you put. And it's like everybody's body's different. So like someone that maybe struggled with like weight loss in general may not be like become like you or become like a supermodel or anything, but they will get the results that they deserve based on the work they put in inside the gym and obviously like in the kitchen.
Yeah.
I think that's such a beautiful thing where it's like when all of the world comes down to the economies and the politics and all these different things, to know that you have a place that's good for you, that you will get out exactly what you put in. Like the gym is not shortcut anybody. Your body does not shortcut you. It will give you exactly what you put in. I just think that's such a nice thing to like hold on to.
Definitely. And keep in mind too, it's a self-sport. Nobody's relying on you.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody's relying on you for the game-winning basket or whatever. It's all you. 100% you. It doesn't matter what anybody in your entire life does. What happens in the gym is between you and the weights. And I think I liked that idea too. Because I didn't have to be relying on anybody. I didn't have to rely on anybody. I just had to listen to me. And it was my world. And I created a world out of it. It became a life. And that was, and I love it. I love it, love it, love it. And in the spite of all these things happening that I talked about so far, I always had that little escape. Because I never stopped. Even if I wasn't the best, a big old bear belly I did in the beginning. That just came later in life when I really started to go south. But I, I just kept myself there and I kept myself in shape and I just always, that was always the place I could go. And so anyway, went through that whole thing with Morgan. I mean, just horrible. Second ex-wife. And then I'm back to the world again. And at that point is when I just said, you know what? I'm done. trying to live up to an expectation. I'm done trying to be everything for everybody else. And I just shut off the human in me. As weird as that sounds, when you're in an MC, people always say, well, how do certain people do certain things? How could a human being do that or do this or whatever it may be? And you probably know, you shut the human off. You have that ability. Do you know what I mean?
Yep.
And when you shut that off, you'll do things, say things that you didn't think, that people are like, that is not you. That is not you. Like, what are you doing? You know, and you become an animal. You start feeding into your animalistic desires in every aspect of the form. And so I started sleeping with a whole bunch of women, bunch, just ridiculous. And I just didn't care anymore. And that's what my life became, you know, but yet I still kept trying to get a relationship. I still needed to fill that hole of when my family left, you know? And I mean, I was a bartender. I was doing everything. I was dabbling in the cocaine. I was dabbling in psychedelics. I mean, God heavens. I did everything that is just the worst thing you could do, you know? And I mean, even to the point I was buying stuff that this guy, supposedly synthetic drugs, he's feeding me all these, who knows what the heck I was taking. I have no idea, but I didn't care. I was a bartender because I had lost my job because I started going south, and people are seeing this. You can't be successful if you can't, there's no line, you know, you can't step over the line, just barely into the line into this and then still have a foot over here. I mean, at some point you lose yourself completely and people know. And so I had a really good job with my cousin. I decided to show up one Saturday. I was, you know, and I'm drunk and I brought a beer in with me, you know, and I couldn't get the door to lock or unlock or something. I ended up breaking a key off in the door and I just left. It's got all this expensive equipment in there. I just abandoned ship.
You're like, oh, I can't do this.
I hop on my bike and Harley Davidson, Marlboro Man's off to another bad choice, you know? And so anyway, I ended up a bartender. And I kid you not, when I would show up to the bar, I had some form of cocaine or something to keep me going. And in order to be the bartender, and you know me, I'm like a pretty vibrant personality. You give me some drugs or some alcohol, whoa, over the top.
Like a rainbow.
Woo! Like, yeah. The sad thing is people loved it.
Yeah.
So I was a popular bartender, you know?
Yeah, I bet.
Dang good looking guy for one. Just kidding. But just that, you know, just a goop.
Yeah.
And I would show up to the bar and we had pint glasses, vodka, Coke. I had about 3 of those before my shift even started. That's a freaking huge. Who survives that?
I don't know, dude.
And I don't know how I had a tolerance for everything. Everything. I had to take a bunch of everything. Probably because I got all this mental illness, you know. It's like ADHD. Well, sorry.
Be careful, that's vodka.
Yeah. Cocaine doesn't work the same for you. So you got to take away more, you know, or yeah. Like I don't need to do meth. I'm already freaking. But yeah, so anyway, yeah. So I just made a lot of bad choices.
So what would you say is like when you like when did you realize, I guess, when was your rock bottom? Like when did you hit and you were like, because obviously like you described like your process of like you had some self-loathing, you wanted like to F you the world, you wanted to stop living for everybody else, start to party, sleep, do drugs. Like at what point does like someone like that realize like, oh shit, like I've got a problem and I need to fix it or I might die?
That's the hardest point. I had a lot of rock bottoms, but how far was that rock bottom? Not far enough. You know, but yeah, I hit a rock bottom right in Isle Falls at that point. I ended up out of the MC and I met a girl and that's the funny thing about addiction is that you think that if only I move to another place, my problems will be gone. If I change my job, my problems will be gone. If I change my relationship, my problems will be gone. And what did I do? I ran away. And so I got with a girl, which I probably had no business doing anyway, because I was not in a state of mind to do that. I was still drinking at time. I mean, to the point to where, I'm having to have a drink. kind of thing. And we moved to St. George. I kind of start trying to straighten myself out. I got a family, but I'm still drinking every night. Do you know what I mean? We go and I get into the car business. If anybody knows the car business, not a good place for an addict or alcoholic. I mean, I'll tell you what, man, we had a runner. And that was the one other thing with me. I always have to be connected. Always have to take it to another level.
Yeah.
I can't just be someone who gets drugs from someone. No. I want to be the guy who gets them from the guy. Do you know what I mean? No. Yeah, your stuff stepped on. I don't want that.
Yeah.
I want what that guy has.
Yeah.
And I would find avenues to get into that guy. So we'd have a guy that would run. I mean, God, we did so much cocaine, man. We called it a schmooze cruise. That means go get the golf cart and everybody go hit a line. That was like every hour. Like, hey, ready for schmooze cruise? Yep, let's go. Hey, got keys to the Buick. Off we go. And everyone pulls out their little baggies and shares a little,
Yeah, that's crazy.
Oh, yeah, man. All day. All day. And I was sending a runner to Las Vegas. We had a runner. I was buying half ounces at a time that I was going to sell to make up for some. Hell no. I don't think I ever saw, maybe, but it was like hard to see it go.
Huh.
Don't want to use it.
Yeah.
Because it was all day, every day. And I had that same routine. I'd wake up the next morning, I'd clear out my sinuses in the shower, rip a freaking caterpillar.
Oh my God.
Away we go.
Huh.
Or same thing. We had alcohol there, or we would sneak out and go to the bar for a while and come back. But they didn't care because guess what? Drunk Jeremy, high Jeremy, the hell of a salesman.
Oh, I bet.
But anyway, so yeah, and so that girl that I went there with, we had a house together. Guess what? Something happens. She gets pissed off at me. Come in, get a moving van, take our entire house, skedaddles. I've got a flipping mattress on the floor in the living room. No TV. Had a dresser upstairs and a bed frame. I think that's all I had left. And here I am with a mattress on the floor, no TV. I'd come home from work. I'd go that time I'm buying handles of cheap Monte Carlo or Monte Cristo or something. It's like a mix of rum and who knows what. Tequila and it's just garbage. And I would have to drink myself to sleep every night. I would just, what else am I going to do? Then I'd go to work the next day. Now, this was the hardest, one of the craziest stories, just to give you an example of addiction. And I have the hardest time thinking back on this because of how bad it hurts. I would have to ration my alcohol so that I didn't get to the point of withdrawal. As soon as you start to withdraw, you start shaking, sweating. It's the scariest. It's the worst pain I can't describe to anybody. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I didn't have any alcohol. I could, and I'm starting to shake. As soon as those shakes start, the panic sets in. I'm like, it's cool. I don't have any customers. I'm almost off. I can go. I'll be fine. And then one of my coworkers says, hey, Jeremy, I've got to go. I'm going to have you take over this deal. I'm like, no. I mean, I'm telling you, it's that bad. No. Oh my God. How am I going to do this? I'm on this laptop in front of this customer and I'm sweating. I'll bet my face was beet red. My eyes were red and I'm just starting to sweat and I'm shaking so bad. I'm like, I can't even push the key. And then I got to go write something down to bring to bring numbers to the desk, that whole process. And, I'm writing like a 90-year-old woman, like just, and I'd go hand it to him. And this guy's looking at me like, what is wrong with you? And I'm just like, I'm just in a panic. I can't function.
What are you telling me?
Here I am. No, nothing. So we get the deal done. I don't know how I even got to that point. Halfway through, he's buying the car, he signed everything, whatever, getting ready to sign. And I've got to go bring the car to detail, which I do. But I'm like, yeah, I'm going to go check on your car. I hurry and leave, drive across town to a liquor store. Because in Utah, it's a state liquor stores.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's not like a quick jaunt. And I go get myself a pint of vodka and a 7-Up. I sit in the parking lot. I'm shaking so bad. Try not to spill this vodka everywhere. So I pour out like half of the 7-Up. try to pour the vodka back in while I'm, trying to get fill it up, and I slam that whole pint right there. Boom. I am sound as a pound. No shakes, nothing. And it's almost brought me back to just a normal state. Most people would slam a pint and just be blitzed. I'm just now functional. I go sit back in front of this guy, just calm, collected, no shaking. Okay. Anyway, let's go ahead and here I am. I'm typing fine. I'm writing fine. I'm finishing the deal like a human being. And he is looking at me like, what the hell just happened? Holy shit. And I can just see it on his face. Like, I should have come up with something like, oh no, I have a condition.
Yeah.
Well, as soon as I get my bill, I'm fine.
Yeah.
And they felt sorry for me and realized. But anyway, it's that kind of stuff. There is nothing, and it doesn't stop there. So many instances like that. Driving over here to you is memories. I worked for Yes Heating and Air, which is a great paying job, but it's a very involved job. Oh, you don't need to know HVAC. Yes, you sure do. You got to convince them why theirs is bad and they need a new one instead of just trying to nickel and dime and fix. And I did pretty good. My first day, I didn't drink, but I was shaking, sweating, and I had to go through that day in that state. Anyway, it's a scary, 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 scary thing. But let's see. So St. George, that all happens. The straw that broke the camel's back there was, I ended up homeless. I lost that house, by the way. Put my stuff in storage, whatever I had left. I somehow find a place with a relative that lived in St. George that I didn't know about. And they let me live in their house to take care of their house because no one's living there. I'm like, oh, this is awesome. It's a great house, great location. And I just basically rented a room. And it was cheap. It's like $400 or something like that. Well, they decide that someone's going to stay there. They're going to turn it into an Airbnb, whatever. Sorry, Jeremy, you got to go. Next house. Oh, hey, but my mom is here during the summer, not during the winter. Go ahead and you can stay in her house. Yay, another room. Take care of another house. And I'm not kidding you. The whole time I'm drinking through this, every day, every night I had to drink. And I don't know how I got through it. But I lived in that house until she decides to move back. Jeremy, sorry, you're gone. Mom's moving back. Now what am I going to do? All me and my friends went and got a house over on Sand Hollow Golf Course. Awesome house. Awesome house. Swimming pool, hot tub, 2 thermostats, big, nice house on the golf course. That is nice. But what happened was when I was there, we had our Thanksgiving together. I decided, and we're sitting there, we're having a good time, but it's a weed turkey, weed butter infused turkey. It's drinking, it's drugs, and I remember sitting there and they start talking about Christmas. Well, what are you going to do for Christmas? And I'm like, the dad in me finally kicks and it's like, you're not going to be here for Christmas. This is horrible. You're a dad, dude. You don't need to be hanging out with your buddies doing Christmas here in St. George by yourself. So that's when I decided, and I started dating a girl. at Star Valley, right? She's going through, but I knew how to pick a man.
Yeah.
Hadn't even left her dude yet, but she's gonna.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm sorry. If you have to force something to work. So I moved back to Star Valley and immediately I get hired right on at Rocky Mountain Yeti. I know the owner. We know the owner, how the valley is. Know everybody. And they're like, oh, absolutely. Heck yeah. Because when you have any experience in the car world, you'll be hired at any car dealership, retired, whatever, wherever. And so it was positive. I had a family again, right? After I lost Holly and she dropped me off and, here we go. I just keep losing. It's my fault, but it's everybody else's fault in my head at the time. So moved back there, same thing, man. She decides their kids need the dad, leaves me and goes back to guy. After I got a house again. And now I got this house by myself again. Same scenario. And
It's like a back.
Yeah. And here I am again. And from previous things what these broken relationships do to me. They wreck me. all the time I'm drinking, but it's under control here. Soon as that loss happens, it's out of control. It's always out of control. I hate alcohol, period.
Yeah.
But it hits another level. And I keep hitting these levels, and going deeper and deeper, deeper. Now, keep in mind, all the while, I'm still going to the gym. Even if I'm in horrendous shape, I'm still not every day and not as dedicated, but I still have a membership everywhere I go.
Yeah.
And getting older and older, man, 40 years old all of a sudden, and I have nothing to show for my life, I feel like. And my kids, I hardly ever get to see them, and all these bad choices I make, and I can't even bring them out to see me because I'm not in a position to be a dad. It's almost like I just gave up on myself completely. So I moved back to Star Valley, and then guess what? Virgil leaves. I'm in a house by myself again. What's the most logical thing to do? Sleep with more women. Drink more. I remember someone at work came to me and said, oh man, this actress, can't remember who it was. She slept with 13 people in a year. And I'm like, rookie numbers. So what was my next mission? Okay, I'm going to destroy her record. Then I can go back to my coworker and be like, who does that? It's destructive. It's self-destructive. And I did. I can't remember where I ended up. It was bad, and I was drinking the same thing, man. And same thing. I'm bouncing from house to house to house. I'm no longer settled. I don't have a place, and I'm like a transient at that point. And then, things go pretty good, but I'm drinking every day at work. Every day at work. I can't go to work without a drink. I've got to pace. I've got to divvy up my drinks throughout the day. I'm not even kidding you. I would, okay, if I just have a beer here, I've got a 3-hour window.
You're planning your
that
whole
I can
day
have around the alcohol. 100%. You got to plan how am I going to sneak it? How am I going to hide it? What am I going to say if I get caught? How am I going to do it? How do I stay functional but not drunk and not smell like alcohol? And that's your daily routine. Is how you're going to duck and cover from what you're doing,
Yeah.
And so, go south, and then they decide, but I did good. I was selling cars. We had a really fun, through this thing, I kind of maintained myself as good as I can because it started becoming part of my life. I lived life drunk. And I decided to, and they like, hey, they need some help in Evanston, Wyoming at that store. That was their number one producing store. I went in drunk, and I went there. And then what happens when manager says, I don't care what you drink. I don't care what you smoke. I don't care if you do drugs, sell cars. That's what I do.
Just that.
Yeah. And I drank to the point that it got ridiculous. And they're showing me videos of me bawling on the showroom, drunk off my ass, and my manager says, Jeremy, gonna have to fire you. It's hard for him to do that because I was still producing. I was still selling. And they liked me. But here's the thing is he said, you're fired, but you can come back. Just go get yourself cleaned up. I went home. I just quit a cold turkey. I don't know enough about alcohol. I just know I drank and what it made me feel like. I didn't understand withdrawals. I didn't understand. You can't cold turkey alcohol.
No.
You will die.
Yep.
Especially when you're like me at that point, I'm drinking handles. You know what a handle is? I'm drinking about 3/4 of a handle a day at that point.
Gee.
And that is just to survive. You know what I mean? First thing in the morning. Yeah. Second I get up, and that's the other frustrating part. When I wake up, you better make sure you got a drink ready because you just went 8 hours. You're going to wake up in a bad spot. And if you don't have anything to do it. So here I am watching the clock till the minute that liquor store opens because I didn't get it. Jeez. I drank everything I had. Wasn't supposed to be that way, but I did because whatever I had in front of me, I drank. I couldn't save anything. Are you kidding me? I saw people with wine cellars. I'm like, how? How will you sell bottles? You got a full bottle of vodka just sitting there and it's not gone? That's impossible. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not one of these guys like you. And I remember just watching these movies where they're like businessmen and they got all their little fancy alcohols and they're in work. Like, oh my, that'd be amazing. But I wouldn't have bottles.
Yeah.
They'd be gone.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I mean, I don't know how would you have any? And, you know, if I had anything in the house, it's going to be gone. And anyway, yeah. So it goes that well. And anyway, it was a bad, man. I went through the troubles bad. I ended up in the hospital. See, I ended up in the hospital that time. I did. But I told everybody I had, that it was, that I got COVID.
Oh, to me, that was an easy excuse back in the day.
Yeah.
Anything that went bad, you're like, oh, I got COVID. I can't come in. I can't do all this.
Yep.
I can't do this thing. I can't do that thing. I can't go on this date.
Yep. Well, I was like sick to my stomach and I had some heart problems. I have high blood pressure. I have an irregular heartbeat. I have a herniated esophagus. I have, you know, my heart isn't beating very well anyway. When you drink, it speeds your heart rate up. My blood pressure had to have been through the roof. Jeez. I mean, just through the roof. But somehow my body just kept pushing. You know, the only time I ended up in the hospital during that time was when I put myself there with alcohol. So anyway, long story short, I'm, you know, and I have videos. I can't even watch them of myself. Like, well, I ended up in the hospital and blowing smoke up everyone's ass of why, you know?
Yeah.
So I'm giving you a ton of content, by the way. You're going to have to do a lot of serious editing, but
That's okay.
I don't know how deep to go because there's so much.
Yeah. If there's anything you want taken out, we can
Well,
talk later.
my life is this, there is way more than I'm telling you. We haven't even gotten into the cracks.
This is like,
I'm trying to digest this as best I can.
I'm the video real quick to keep going.
But it's so deep. I mean, there's so much to it. How do I explain it all? I need a picture, a video to watch it all. There's so much. There's so much deep, and it goes so much deeper emotionally, mentally, and everything else. You know, there's so many little stories and side stories behind a lot of this crap that I'm doing to myself. But somehow I get through it. I did end up in the hospital. You know, those doctors know exactly why you're there. I'm the only one bullshitting anybody.
Yeah. You think you're bullshit, doc?
Yeah. And myself.
Yeah. No.
You know, it's not alcohol related. Yeah. It is. I'm saying it is.
I haven't had a drink in like 2 hours.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not an alcoholic. I just have to drink every day to be okay. I don't party. I'm not getting completely wasted.
I just have one every hour.
But if I don't have one, I'll die. No big deal.
Fine.
Yeah. So So anyway, a month later, I go back in. I'm like, well, we're all good. You good? You feeling good? Ready to go to work? Yep. Let's go to work. Jump right back in. I can stop shit. What I did during that month. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I started to exercise. Started to feel good again. But guess what? Yeah, I'm good. I can do your trade now. And then what does it do? It snowballs again. You can't, there's no such thing as when you're an alcoholic or addict, there is no casual drinking anymore or using. It doesn't exist.
Yeah.
It's all or nothing. And it snowballs. And each time you pick up, you go further than the time before. Do you know what I mean? Every time it gets deeper and deeper and deeper. Second time, I'm like, well, I can drink, but clearly I can't drink vodka. Wine, on the other hand, it's not as strong. I don't think you can smell it on me as bad. What am I buying? Box wines. But I'm drinking a whole box. Do you know what I'm saying?
Oh, that's
A whole box. And all of a sudden, and I'm hiding boxes. I don't know who I'm hiding from, just in case my brother shows up or something, you know? And
how did that get there?
yeah, how did those 10 boxes get there? My neighbor's so funny, you know?
Yeah, they're like, okay.
There's so many boxes. Like, you don't realize it until you start counting the boxes. I'm pulling them out of all my little secret hiding spots. Well, at that point, my manager came to me, he's like, you got a serious problem, man. Oh, wait a minute. In between, I'm sorry. Let's see, hold on. Oh, my timelines are so foggy. But it was after that. Okay, so then I started, it started snowballing, and those withdrawals get worse and worse and worse and worse and worse. I mean, and they're scary. Like when I went through it that time and ended up in the hospital, they scared me to death. And I mean, and it gets so bad you can't even walk because you're shaking so bad. I couldn't get a glass of water to my mouth. That water was gone before it ever hit my mouth, the whole cup. And I remember I drank all that wine and I had myself convinced that I wasn't drinking that much because it was wine. But on the amount and quantity I was doing it, and I wasn't drinking to get drunk. I was drinking to be okay. Because, it takes more and more and more and more. My manager finally said, Jeremy, I'm not going to fire you again because that was a pain in the ass. But one more time, one more chance, go home and get cleaned up. And so in the self-destructive behavior that I'm in, I just quit cold turkey. You're right. Screw it. Well, this time was bad. This time my body had had enough. And my body started to shut down. Daryl and Melissa came over. And they cleaned my house. It was a wreck. They put Gatorade in my fridge. They did all these things. I had even at one point fallen face first into a wall and split my head wide open. And I've got this bloody, crusty head. And I didn't even know. Daryl comes and he's like, what happened to your head? I'm like, what do you mean? And he touches. I'm like, oh, God. I look in the mirror. It's freaking huge gash, blood everywhere. I didn't clean it up or nothing. I didn't even know I did it. And, that's just how bad it was. And anyway, had all this stuff and they're like, okay, but that's the best they could do. Come take care and then leave. No one wants to be around me. Nobody wants to, but they want to help. But how do I help? Right. And so it got so bad. I started puking and shitting blood.
Jeez.
Constant. I couldn't get a glass of water to my mouth. I couldn't eat. When you're drinking a lot, you can't eat. I don't know how the hell you do it. I mean, because you're drinking so many calories. You're drinking so much sugar. Your body can't do food. It's just, you're just never hungry. Alcohol takes over your entire system. It's your water. It's your food. It's your life breath. Poison. Total poison. Absolute poison. And
part that shit's still legal, man.
it's insane. It is insane.
Gosh.
If anybody has ever experienced that level, it is the scariest thing on earth. As soon as I started to shake, it would scare me to death. And so but I was bound and determined. I was going to get sober. I was going to change my life. I'm tired of this garbage. Tired of living this way. And it was so bad. I'm laying in a bed, covered in my own piss, puke and shit. I hadn't eaten for 2 weeks. I could no longer walk. I could no longer crawl. I could barely sit up. And I remember my brother says, Jeremy, and in the midst of that, and I'm going to be vulnerable here a little bit. I had a pistol and I pulled that sucker out. I loaded it and cocked it, stuck it right in my head. I'm like, of course I'm sobbing. Like, I know this to be hard. And my mind's going, thinking about my kids, thinking about everything, thinking about my life, thinking about who I leave behind, what kind of an impact. But I was so down on myself too when I was asked that, like, how could you be that selfish? But in my eyes, everyone will be better off if I'm gone. I held that gun cocked, ready to go, trigger squeezed, because the first part of that trigger is safety. And then beyond that is I had it to the boom. And I just held that sucker to my head, man, and just bawling. But I'm so OCD. I don't want to get blood everywhere. I want to get matter everywhere. I don't want to mess up my beautiful face. With my face, it was really ugly then. So was my hair, my beard. Looked like a homeless person. But I did, but that's where I was at. And I ended up kind of calling a buddy and telling him, like, I'm about to blow my freaking head off. He called the cops. Cops come over and I'm like, whoa.
Things fine.
That's great. You can piss and shit. Yeah, that's mine.
Yeah, that sounds good. Shoot myself with it.
Where did this come from?
My funny neighbor.
You jerk. He's drinking all this wine, box wine. Fills my kitchen.
Yeah, but you interrupt, but I hear that argument a lot with like people that contemplate suicide, like
Yeah.
they're being selfish.
Yeah.
But like,
You think you're not being selfish.
no, and like the start of this year, January 1st, 2025, I was with one of our girls in our foundation and she described exactly what you described. but she was going to use a rope that she found on TikTok because she got on this creepy TikTok algorithm where she was like, I was going to hang myself, not to be selfish, but because everybody else would be better off. I wouldn't be a financial burden. We'd have parents. Nobody would have to worry about me. Like, she's not thinking about who I would leave behind, the impact it would make on the negative impact it would make on me, on us.
Yeah.
She's thinking about the benefit that it would, and it's not real. It's not a real thing she's thinking about. But when you're in that state of mind to where you have a gun in your hand, or in her case, a rope around her neck, you're not thinking about anything negative. It's
Nothing
only positive that would happen to people once you're gone.
Yeah.
That's
what I'm saying. I'm thinking of the bad example I am to my kids. If I just exit stage left, they would be taken care of by somebody better than me. Do you know what I mean? I'm doing everybody a favor, and I don't want to live like this anymore. And clearly I can't get over it. So let's just take the easy road out. Right. So I finally got hold of my brother and I said, and of course they're like, you got to go to the hospital. You got to, and I'm like, no, I don't do the doctor. So one thing about the MC world that it really turned my brain to, you do not call for help. You don't call a cop for any reason. No reason. There is a problem, you handle it. Or you call your brothers, have them help you handle it. You don't involve the law. You don't go to the hospital. You don't. Do you know what I mean? You know, being in a situation where your brothers are torn up in a fight and you're over there with super gluing their face back together. You don't go to the doctor. They ask questions. You don't go to the cops. You handle your shit. And that was a state of mind that I had developed. Yeah. I wasn't going to the hospital, no way. But I was so bad. It was so, I wish I could, I can't even describe. I couldn't, it was so bad. I couldn't even, if I put water to my lips and swallowed, it wouldn't go down. My body was rejecting food.
It wasn't booze. It was like,
not even booze. I couldn't even cut that down. I can no longer swallow. My body is shutting down. Every bit of my body is starting to shut down, and it no longer worked. Get on the phone with Daryl, my brother. He says, Jeremy, and he's in Starlight, 2 hours away from Evanston. He says, okay, I'm going to drive down there and then I'm going to take you, let's get you to the hospital. So I'm holding on to that. I've got that 2 hour window. But Daryl says, Jeremy, but you got to get in the shower. You got to clean yourself up. You're disgusting. And I says, Daryl, that's not possible. I can't get to the bathroom. He said, no, you just got to find a way to get there. I'm like, no, you don't understand. I can't. Not that I don't want to. I cannot physically make it from my bed to that shower. There's no way. So Jeremy figured out, get showered. I'll be there in 2 hours. Okay. I mean, dude, like I can't, I'm disabled. And I remember, so here I'm covered in the, oh God, you just can't imagine the smell of that house. My gosh. And me. There's no longer anything to puke or piss out.
Yeah.
I've got, so I combat crawl. I mean, I don't know how long it took me. A long time. Get to the bathroom. There's a shower. Oh, well, I'm definitely not going to be able to take a shower. And I didn't have a plug. I couldn't take a bath. I'll just turn on the water and lay there and let the water fall on me. I crawl up over and fall into the bathtub. I had no control of myself. I mean, I'm telling you, I had no must. Go in, somehow manage to get that shower on, get it to a comfortable temperature. I'm laying there. I can't soak my body. I don't have the coordination to soak my body. I'm literally, do you know what I mean? And I'm just sitting there letting the water fall on me, trying to get my hair wet. I can't. No control over my fingers and my, And then I'm like, okay, that's good enough. Go to sit up, turn the water off. I can't sit up. Like laying there, I'm like, what the hell? I can't sit up. I can't sit up. I'm like, holy shit. I can't turn this water off. What are you going to do? And I lay there for a long time. It's colder than hell. And I'm just laying there. And then I'm like, okay, come on, you can do it. I finally get the strength to sit up. I can't turn the damn faucet off. I can't. Ah. I fall back down. I'm like, holy shit. Try it again and again and again. Either can't sit up. If I do get set up, I can't turn that knob. Like, fine. Daryl will be here in a couple hours. I'll just lay in here till then. I'm just going to sit there in this cold ass water for 2 hours. and wait for my brother to what? He can't lift me. I'm like 250 pounds, especially by himself. But I'm thinking that's my only way out of it. I don't know. He's going to have to come shut the shower off with me, for me. I am naked and disgusting. And, well, I don't know how long went by. Probably an hour, 2 hours. No brother. Nobody's showing. No one's coming, Jeremy. You got to get out of the damn shower. And I'm not kidding you. Something just came over me that, get your ass up. Get that water off. Get the hell out of the shower. And I literally, everything I had, I somehow got the shower off. And I'm like, oh, yay. It's the biggest accomplishment ever, And I fall out of the shower, grab my towel that's hanging, pull it down. I can't even dry myself. I'm like a dog. All I could do is put it on me and roll around, and very crappily roll around. So I'm like, and I'm combat crawling down the hall as I'm drying off in this towel. Get to the room, and I'm like, I got to get underwear. I got to get a new shirt. It took me 30 minutes to put a shirt on because I'm sopping wet for one. So the shirt's sticking, and I have no coordination to put a shirt on. I somehow, after I don't know how long, get underwear and a shirt on. And I just back when I'm done. I have spent everything I got. I go back to way back on the least pooped on part of my bed. Lay there. What do I do? I call my brother. Hey, are you on your way? Oh, no, I haven't left yet. I'm like, oh, shit. Holy shit. What the hell? And I'm dying, man. I knew I was dying. My whole body was done. And that's what they say. When you're ready to die, you can't swallow food. You can't swallow water. Your body no longer wants it or can handle it because everything is dying. And my boss happens to show up with one of the office gals and says, Jeremy, we're bringing you to the hospital. I'm like, no, my brother's coming. My brother's coming. My brother's coming. He's not coming, Jeremy. Let's go. And finally, I'm like, you're right. Fine. They had to dress me. Here I got my coworker trying to help my underwear not be weird and on. Put some socks on, help me put some pants on. It's just there's nothing more humiliating than being dressed by your coworker.
Definitely like humbling for sure.
Extremely. And you're so grateful. What are the chances those guys would show up when they did?
Oh, and they would like give a shit too. Like,
yeah, and right. Enough. Jeremy, maybe people do love you. Maybe you are worth something. And I'm not even kidding. That little act made me start to think.
Maybe I'm worth it.
If I left, then, people might be sad, Jeremy. And anyway, they call the ambulance. The ambulance comes in. The guys come in. I can't imagine what they walked into. You know what I mean? That had to look like a murder scene, man.
Yeah, like, holy shit. It's like,
oh, shit. Yeah.
Blood shooting blood.
It just
smells like booze.
Oh, man. Oh, yeah. The booze has been out of the house for freaking 2 weeks. Gone.
So at least it smells like booze. That's good.
I don't like booze. Yeah. No, I sweat and poop and shit. All out. It's gone. But they said, hey, if we help you, do you think we could walk out to the ambulance? I'm like, not a chance. You're going to have to carry me. I mean, no, you can't. Nope. So they're like, oh, God. And I was a big dude. I was a heavy son of a bee. Like, there's no way we can just freaking carry you out of here. You know what I mean? I'm like, literally, you could pick me up, but you're going to have to do all the work. I have nothing. I have nothing to help. I can't stand up. I can't even come close to standing up. There's no way. So I had to bring in the stretcher and it's like awkward. And I had to go down some weird stairs and stuff like that. Give me the ambulance, give me there and get to the hospital. I literally, Tyler, had to relearn to walk. I mean, I kid you not. Once they started giving me the IVs and I started getting nutrients into my body and they started flushing all the garbage out, I did start feeling a lot better. But still, I couldn't go to the bathroom. I still couldn't walk. And I remember the nurse coming in and saying, okay, we're going to start working on walking. Here's a walker. Let's just get, I want you to just swing your legs around, grab a hold of the walker. I'm going to help you. Let's just go to the door and you sit back down. I just want you to stand up. And at that point, something clicked in my head. I'm going to beat this. I'm going to freaking beat this. And I stand up. I grab that walker and I'm shaking and it's hard. And I walk to the door and she's like, "Okay, that's enough for today." I'm like, no, open the door. I gotta, I'm going to beat this. She's like, "Nope, that's enough for today."
No.
Yeah. Well, finally now I can bring myself to the bathroom, but I have to have help. But I'm not out of the woods for shitting and puking. You know, I got fluids in me now. Freaking Montezuma's revenge is back. You know, part 2. My nurses were all hot. And here I am. I look like I'm a paraplegic.
Trust me, I can do this.
Yeah. Hey, you should see me when I'm sober. You should see me on that, you know, on a better day. I'm really good looking. You know, I have a beard, just a scraggling mess. Anyway, this girl, she was so freaking hot. I was like, this is so humiliating. The balls hanging on the bottom. You know? I go stand in the bathroom and just shit everywhere. Couldn't even get to the bathroom. When it hit. And I'm like, I look over at this girl. Here's this grown man standing half naked and just shit all over the floor. God, dude. And she had to clean me up. I mean, it's like, hey, once I get cleaned up, we're going to go on a date. I didn't say that, but
Your treat.
that's what I'm thinking. Yeah, your treat. I'm for it. As soon as I can learn to walk, we're going to go for a hike. You know? So it was so bad. I'm like, you are not cleaning up my shit.
Yeah.
She's like, I have to. It's my job. I'm like, no. Like, you know, and even though the girl that comes to like, we need to get a turd sample. I'm like, you are not taking that turd sample. You're too good looking. You are not going to play with my shit. And I would tell them that. I'm like, no, send in somebody ugly. They can handle my shit all they want. You are not taking my turd. You know?
Oh my gosh.
It was bad. But anyway, long story short, I'm going to freaking walk. I make that gal open that door and she tells me I can go so far. I'm like, I freaking went to one end of the building to the other and back.
You're like, I'm
in
in
the
the
hospital.
I'm going to fucking
I'm like,
Walmart.
I'm going through the drive-thru at Arby's. Just kidding. I'm like, nope, this is not going to get me. I'm going to do it. And I did, man. I walked way beyond what was expected. Back through money. Yeah. And then, you know, once I finally got home, I'm starting to kind of heal and everything. Well, it was quite a recovery for what it was. I remember my house is on a little hill and I'm like, okay, every morning, but I'm not hired back. I'm not ready to go to work. I'm still, you know, it took a month to really, and I'm still was in bad shape even after a month, but every day I would climb that hill. I remember the first time I did it. Okay. Remember, I'm a newly reformed paraplegic. And I don't mean that in an insulting way, but I mean, that's how I felt. I just couldn't. And so, you know, I'm climbing the hill like this, gonna do it. You know, I get up over the hill, got to go back up across, you know, and I'm like, yeah. You know, dude, I was so motivated. I just couldn't believe it. And I'm like, where did this come from? I was ready to give up. I'm like, this is not going to get me. And then it's a downhill. I start doing that.
Now you will.
Yeah.
Going too fast.
You know, your legs start kicking.
Yeah.
I can't stop myself. But anyway, I somehow get to the bottom without doing a face plant. But every day I got better and stronger. And then as soon as I got to that point, I went back to the gym. And I'm like, and it took a lot of work because I'm so weak. I'm still trying to get my muscle back. But dude, I went and I started getting in great shape. I was lean somehow, like, you know, well, I mean, yeah, I was throwing up and puking, not eating.
Yeah.
I was a great foundation. And I got a buddy at work and we're working out. Dude, I'm freaking killing it, you know? And at that time, around that time too, I had also gone to they said, Jeremy, I think you need to go to a treatment center. I was trying to get you better, you know? And I'm like, yes, let's do it. Yeah, fine. But you know what my attitude was at that time? I'm not an alcoholic. It's everybody else's fault. You'll see. So when I went to treatment, it was for one reason, to prove everybody wrong. I'm not an alcoholic. It's in my circumstances. It's my circumstances. And I'm not an alcoholic. I went into that building, and I'm not even kidding you. You got to be careful with some of these centers. And I hate saying this because you don't ever want to be discouraged. This was clear in Boston, which is like, here I am, this alcoholic is better to fly across the country to Boston, Massachusetts, to go to this treatment center. I didn't even think my driver's license was even valid at the time. Like, they're not going to let me on this plane. Whatever. And I just keep thinking of all these obstacles. Anyway, I go there. The whole time I met her, it was a magical thing. It really was. I learned a lot about myself. But my drive was wrong. My direction was wrong. I'm not there. I'm there to heal, but to heal from everything everybody did to me. Not to just quit alcohol, but, oh yeah, see what she said. Yeah, see, because our circumstance, I'm literally going to leave this place sober and say, see, it's all your fault. Everybody's fault. It's not my fault. I'm not an addict. I'm not the problem. Everybody else is the problem. It's time to keep in mind, I've gone on a mission. I'm a freaking pretty much an atheist. I don't believe in God. And you know why I could believe in God? I was sick of blaming him.
Mm.
Do you know what I mean?
But you
I was sick of blaming him.
it's easier to versus blaming him, just pretend or to believe that he's not there.
Brush him off.
Yep.
I don't have to worry about it anymore.
Yep.
It's my fault. Me. But I also taught me about adolescence. It's not taking responsibility for ourselves. I think we blame shift too much within, whatever church we go to. The devil made me do it. The angel helped me do this. I made this bad decision, but it was because of the devil. He beguiled me. That's why I did that. Do you know what I mean? We get to a point, we are putting the control of our lives and our decision-making onto something else, onto somebody else. We're projecting it on. When something bad happens, God, why would you do that to me? Why would you do that to me? Why would you hurt me in that way? Why would you punish me that way? Do you know what I mean? Jeremy, he's letting you live your life and seeing what you do about it. And he's going to be there to help you and pick up the pieces when you fall. But he's not over here throwing things in your way. You're throwing it in your own way. I remember even having a dream once, and it was just like the iron rod, and I'm following this trail. The trail is super windy. I will tell you what, I had more inspiration going through all this than I ever have in my entire life. This was way more than a dream. And I actually was meditating when this came to me, because I got really into meditation and different things. So I was going through treatment, but I'm picturing myself putting chairs in my path. I've got a narrow, windy road, and in the distance is a bright white door. And what is through that door is eternity, is, my end goal of life, right? But I'm starting to see that I am the one putting things in my way. Not only is it a windy path, I'm throwing chairs, tables, everything that I'm having to stumble over and trip over. And so I think that's when I started to get it, but so it's so easy to say there is not a God. You're the fault, Jeremy. But that's how I did it. Instead of saying, looked at it in a positive way, God has helped you here, quit blaming God for everything. I'm just like, I'll just announce God altogether because I'm sick and tired of blaming him for everything. And that was the first time that I woke up. I remember in my life was when I finally realized, Jeremy, every decision you make in life is up to you. Do you know what I mean? You did it. You. And I don't know why it was the hardest thing to get through my head. But anyway, and so I went to this treatment center. The problem was they didn't really encourage AA. You can go if you want. We have TVs in our room. We could go listen to music if we wanted to. Art room's open if you want. Oh, let's go out for a cigarette break. I didn't smoke cigarettes. I sure learned. I mean, I kind of did, on and off or whatever. But my help right there, that was my break. I freaking said, I'm like, yeah, go have a cigarette, and you can't even get cigarettes. And you got to go get them, bum them for your buddies, or someone's got to send them from home. Who the hell's going to send me a cigarette from home? Nobody. Hello, And you had whatever money you came in with, and that was what you would, because you could order stuff or whatever. But Anyway, long story short, I did have a really good positive experience. I started to pick up some leadership abilities too while I was in there because I had a story and people were listening and they loved to hear me talk. And I filled kind of a leadership role while I was in there. Me and my buddy, we were like it was like a clique and we were at the top of the food chain, and everybody's following us and it's so positive. And I get home. I don't know how long I was sober. The funny thing is I wanted to tell everybody I'd been sober for a year. I have no idea. No way it was a year. There's no way. I go home. They try to give me the AA. You got to do the AA. I go through the church's program. I lasted one day. I'm like, no, God, I can't pretend. I don't believe you got to remember. Do you know what I mean? And then I had friends that had within the car business and everything that had Narcotics Anonymous because they didn't have Alcoholics Anonymous. They had Narcotics Anonymous. In our hometown, Starter Valley, we have Alcoholics Anonymous. We don't have Narcotics Anonymous, but everybody just joke, right? It doesn't matter. It's all the same. It really is. Addiction's addiction. And I lasted, I don't know how long, but it wasn't important to me. What was important to me is your fault, your fault, your fault, your fault. This happened to me. It was its fault. I lasted, I don't know, 4 or 5 months is what I'm going to guess. I did really good though. And I was feeling pretty good and, and everything was going well. But also my goal was I want to get good enough that I can drink again casually. Oh, so once I get better, then I just go back to normal drinking like everybody else. So what happens? It was a stressful day. Oh, maybe I'll just go get a beer. Starts with a beer. You drink the beer, you start feeling a little bit better. Well, if I had 2 beers, so the alcoholic saying, one's too many and 1,000's never enough. You know what I mean? And it's true. Yeah, it's just not, and wherever you left off and you're drinking, even if it's been 6 months, that's where you pick up. You don't start down it just a little. Oh, hell no. You go full in because it's not enough. You know what I mean? I didn't reach the level I need to be at. I felt good, but I need to be here. So, and you think you have it under control, Anyway, long story short, it snowballed again. I'm right back into it. And it didn't stop there. It just kept going. And every move that I tried to make, every job, I lost my job at Yitten. I'd worked there for 6 years. It was my family. It was everything, but I had a girlfriend in Salt Lake. I was commuting from Salt Lake all the way up there. As soon as I would leave work, I'd head to the liquor store. I grabbed a couple. They came out with canned wine. It's the size of a beer, but it's freaking 13%. They go down like a beer, but they trash you. So I'd get a couple of them just to get home. But that's all I'm going to have. But when I get home, maybe if I just bought like a pint, maybe I just have a little bit and I'll wake up refreshed. I'm not dependent again, but I'm now using it again. Well, and the girlfriend at the time was like, you can't read, but I can't wait for the day that you can enjoy a glass of wine with me. But I can't wait till we can just have fun every once in a while. And it did work. I fell right back in head first, just as deep as I had ever been. And we ended up in a huge fight with her because every time I'm drunk, I'm saying belligerent things. I'm saying rude things. The whole situation wasn't good anyway. It was horrible. My kids just didn't like who I was with, didn't like where I was at. But everything at that point, I no longer cared. I didn't care about the person I was with. They were just someone that was there. Not someone I would normally date. But she fits. She's there. She makes a dinner every once in a while, right? And man, it created a lot of trouble on my kids because at that point, as bad as everything that I had done, my kids, guess where they wanted to be? I shipped them off to Indiana, right? I had to go drop them off. As soon as they're grown, everyone always said, Jeremy, just be patient. Kids are smart. They'll know what's going on. You don't have to explain anything. You don't have to, he said, she said, it's her fault. It's my fault. It's your mom's fault. The kids are smart. They see what's going on. And a lot of people, man, there's so many of them in addiction stuff that they haven't talked to their kids in 5 years, 6 years. They don't want anything to do with them. Because you do at the point, people are like, I don't know what else to do for you. I don't know what else to do for you. We are trying so hard to help you, and we so bad want you to do it, but nothing we do is working, and you start like, man, I'm putting so much on my family. I'm putting so much on the people that I love, and they've stuck by me through all of this. And look what I'm doing. Look at the choices I'm making. And so it just, I finally, her and I broke up, but we lived in the same house for 6 months. Um, and I was fighting to get rent, man. And I had gotten this new job. I don't know how. I was selling HVAC, had a company truck, but I had started to break away from the alcohol a little bit so I could, because I knew. But that once again, if I change my job, change my environment, then everything will be okay. Then I'll get better. And I got such a stressful job. I was all over the Salt Lake Valley in this little company truck, doing HVAC. And the problem is my string started to snowball again. Next thing you know, I'm planning how I'm going to get through my day in a company truck with a camera that's watching me. You know what I mean? So I would, first thing in the morning, get a thermos, make a drink that would last me the 8 hour of the time that I had to be at work. Every 3 hours, I could take X amount of swallows or swigs. After 3 hours, I knew how long I could go, and I'm rationing out this alcohol. Then on the way home, or Arnold Palmer, a twisted tea or whatever it's called. I don't know. I can't remember. What is it? Arnold Palmer or whatever. I could have one of those. And so I had my thermos. I would pour one in. I would go buy 3 hours, 3 hours, right? Then on the way home, the liquor store. So when we were coming down the belt route, that was my route every day because we were up with the location with the headquarters up in Provo. I would come home, get off the exit. Here I am in a company trip with a camera. Of course, worried like, oh my gosh, what if they turn that camera on and they see it under the liquor store? Well, it doesn't matter. They didn't say you couldn't buy alcohol. You're just not supposed to drink it when drive. I'd go buy me a pint. Then I would buy a bottle. Then I'm buying a bottle and a bottle for tomorrow. Pre-planning. Oh, well, if I just pre-buy it, but there's times you get lazy or you get too drunk. You didn't go buy your bottle for the morning. And I'm watching the clock that they unlock that beer cabinet so I can be okay to go to work. That's the worst feeling in the entire world. And yeah, sure enough, I'd go buy my teas, fill up my thing, hide my other teas. I couldn't even have within, to where you could see them on the camera. I'm dodging the camera. I ended up like the second highest salesman. How the hell did I keep functioning? How the hell? But you become, anyway, I don't know how, but I did good still. And I'm telling you what, though, the work was 10 times more hard because I'm also dodging alcoholism. You know what I mean? Trying to get through the day. And anyway, so then I finally called my brother. I says, Daryl, I've had enough. Lost my girl. We're about to lose our place. I can't make enough money. And she's relying on me to make that rent. Do you know how many times I had to go to my family just to get rent? How the hell did they keep giving it me and why? I should have fallen on my damn face a long time ago. That's why I don't want to badmouth anybody in my past because all those people are still with me today and they're how I got through this. And they were the ones helping me every step of the way. But also they didn't know what to do for you. They want to love you so bad.
I can blame them. Like,
what do I do?
Yeah, who looks at like that situation, like we described Anderson, and been like, how do I make a meaningful impact within this moment?
Mm-hmm.
I think the meaningful impact is like, it should help you get cleaned up.
Yeah.
Like that's the most I think
Well,
you're
they can get.
Yeah.
Okay, well, keep you in a house because if you're homeless, man, you're really going to go south. You're going to die.
Oh, yeah.
That's on everybody's mind. The ultimate end is death.
Mm-hmm.
The only way out of addiction or alcoholism is recovery, death, or institutions. That's it. Either you recover or you die or you end up in prison.
So how did you get to that point where you started recognizing that it was actually you versus everybody else?
So it was that point. I had gone through so many things. I had lost so many things. And I was just sick and tired of the constant pre-planning and hiding and lying. And, I was tired. I was tired of it. That's what my idea was. Okay, I'm going to lose this house anyway. Got all my stuff in here. I've got this great job and I'm doing well. I didn't want the job anymore. I tainted it for myself. I ruined it. I don't want to do it anymore because I am in constant anxiety over how the hell I'm going to get through my next day. And it was that point that I called Daryl. And I had done this before. I said, Daryl, home to me is the belly of the beast. Home to me is the lion's den, right? I can't go anywhere without people knowing I'm drunk or drinking or everything I'm doing. Sorry about it. I'm going to go back to Starbucks. There's no way I'm not going to be clean there. There's no way. I can't hide it. So I called Daryl. I'm like, Daryl, I'm ready to come home. I'm sick of this. I can't do this anymore. I'm just tired of it. And that was the start, I got home, but I'm like, okay, but I can't. How am I going to go over not? How am I going to? And my family doesn't understand the withdrawals. They don't understand you can't just stop drinking. I about killed myself twice doing that. And I'm like, I have to wean myself off. That's true, but not by yourself. You got to have somebody that's in control and can administer that as you need it. Because what I found out, right off the bat, Daryl caught me with alcohol. Right off the bat. Dude, I had a place. He found a place for me to live. He found a place. I had my car, everything, and here they are doing all this stuff to try to, get me back on track. I'm about to lose a car. I'd already lost a car to the bank, about to lose another car. I'd had no car. And they, okay, Jeremy, this is what we're going to do. We're going to start you back at Polyguard, but we're going to start baby steps. Let's just get you, we're going to help pay your rent, Thank goodness. Man, recovery can be so hard, but my family made it not as hard as it should have been.
Yeah.
And man, they're a blessing. Can't even tell you. My brother, Daryl, has been there for me through the worst of times of my life and has never left me.
I was going to ask, who's one of, we talked about the heroes of our story?
Daryl.
Okay.
Hands down.
Nice.
Hands down, Daryl.
That's awesome.
Daryl. Big D.
Yeah, we're going to shout out to his gym too. We have
Peak Fitness, man.
Yeah, Peak Fitness. We'll wag it down.
That's where it begins and ends, man.
Yeah.
Because it was Lifetime Fitness.
It's like
Anytime
Lifetime
Fitness.
Fitness was a joke. The time was a joke. And now this
Horrible.
is Peak Fitness, Peak.
I know. Peak Fitness is
it's peak, dude.
It's killing it. And it's just going to get better. There are so many great ideas.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes. Shout out to Peak Fitness, man. Freaking hell. Yeah. I'd always go back to that and go to the gym.
Yeah.
That was like my place, and my brother owned it, so I used to go.
Wonderful. That place went in so well too.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Okay. Daryl, shout out.
Daryl, your story. Yeah. No, he never is frustrated and it's hard and it's everything else, man. Never left my side.
Cool.
Helped me so many ways I can't even begin.
I kept you accountable.
Yeah. But also try to keep you accountable. But people didn't know what to do.
Yeah.
And you know what? To be honest, I didn't know what to tell them to do. I didn't know. So anyway, back in the Valley, about ready to get a job. They got a truck that I can drive, yada, 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 yada. Right off the bat, I ruin it. I get caught drinking. Daryl finds my bottle. Takes my car from me. And I'm in his rental apartment because they're about to sell their house and he just had this apartment and the house hadn't sold yet. So he's sitting there paying on a place that, and he's like, you can stay here. I slept on a beanbag, man. And then he took my car. So what do I do? Man, when you are determined, you are going to go get it. I walked my ass all the way to Coulter's or Maverick or whatever. And I bought alcohol and I just kept buying it. But in my head, I was weaning myself off. Horseshit. And anyway, and then I ended up, let's see. So I kind of had him BS a little bit. And then I started, no, I'm not drinking. I'm totally not. But I am. I'm. So we're supposed to go to a Mother's Day dinner. Okay, in order to even get through this, I'm drink. Gonna have to. Because it stressed me out. What stressed me out was, oh God, now I'm more accountable. The religion that I grew up in, all my family, holy shit, anxiety. I got to drink in order to survive Mother's Day. I go have a bunch of gyms, a little too much. And I'm belligerent F words. I didn't know I said them. Daryl pulls me aside and he's like, Jeremy, have you been drinking? Huh? No. No. You know? He's like, yes, you have. Like you've offended everybody in there. I'm like, I did? What did I say? Like a lot of F words, and yada, yada, yada. Jeremy Bartok. I had no idea. I didn't even know. I thought I was doing good. Evidently, it was super obvious. He's like, well, Jeremy, if I was to go to your place right now, would I find alcohol? No. I drove a company truck there too. So you know how that went over with my family. Anyway, drive back to my house and I tried to hide stuff, but I started to give up on hiding stuff because nobody held me accountable.
Yeah.
Nobody was watching over my shoulder. But I kid you not, I was finding ways to hide these bottles. So I also didn't dare throw them away. I didn't know there was a freaking dumpster down the way. Like, well, how am I going to get rid of these? I just hit them. I hit them. I even had a place in the wall, little trap door, hiding bottles. And so, yeah, Daryl follows me back and he finds, I shit you not, everyone. I didn't have one because he's short. Like, there's no way in hell that short little guy's going to see unfair.
I did.
Yeah, because you got to stand back. You stand back, you can see, it doesn't matter how tall you are. Yeah, if you're right up on it, you're not going to see as good as I can. I'm such a dumbass. He like steps back, opens the cupboard, steps back. Jeremy, I'm like, oh shit. Yeah, he could step back.
I didn't even think about that.
But he pulls out all these freaking bottles. Holy shit. There was a lot of freaking alcohol. I'm like, oh my God. Did I drink that much? I'm weaning myself off. No, you're not. You're just still drinking. You're not weaning nothing. I was so scared of that withdrawal. Oh, they're done, man. They're like, Jeremy, we're just, they were so pissed, so disappointed. So I really think they finally thought that was it. That was it for me. I had finally hit that rock bottom. I was about to lose everything and I'm done. And okay. Well, but their thing is, they don't understand, we're just give him a nice place to live, take off some of the pressure from him. The problem was I was an alcoholic. Didn't matter how comfortable my living circumstance was. Alcoholic, it's a disease. Doesn't go away until you go through the steps.
Yeah.
And so Daryl says, we don't know what to do, Jeremy. Honestly, we want to just go bring you to Salt Lake and drop you off at the homeless shelter and be done with you. And I get it. At what point are you like, enough is enough, man? We don't know what else to do. We feel like we've done everything under the sun. We sent you away. That didn't work. We gave you this. We bought this. Yada, yada, yada. I gave you a vehicle to drive. And you're still drunk. We're done, man. We've had enough art. We can't emotionally. It's not that they don't want to physically. Emotionally, you're just drained. They're drained. How do you trust anybody anymore? How do you trust this guy? And so Daryl finally came to me and says, Jeremy, I don't know what to do. They are pissed. And it was so bad. And he says, and of course, I went through withdrawals again. Not quite as bad as some of the other times, but still very uncomfortable, very horrible. My recliner's destroyed because I couldn't sit into my recliner. I had to fall into the recliner. So the leg thing was stuck open and it was bent like this from my in and outs of that chair. But yeah, I had got to the point I couldn't really walk again. I was getting there and it's scary, but I had no way to get alcohol. I had cut off every contact because I had friends bringing alcohol. I didn't have a vehicle, so they were bringing it to me. And they found out who it was and called them and threatened him. Daryl's like, I will put you in the ground if you bring Jeremy any more alcohol. But Daryl comes, he's like, what do we try treatment again? I said, yes, please. At that point, I think I finally realized, Jeremy, you burned every bridge. They've had enough.
I had a basketball coach once that said, if you shoot 50 free throws and you miss all 50, it ain't the ball that's got problems.
Yeah. Good point.
Doug Broadhead.
Yeah. Still like old Doug.
Yeah. If you ain't tell me anything else, if you shoot 50 free throws, you miss all 50, it ain't the ball that's got problems.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. He's such a good, I don't care what anybody said. I love Doug Broadhead, but, I said, yeah. And I think that's probably when my mind clicked. I'm done, man. I've had enough. I give up. And I did. I surrendered. I flat surrendered. I said, if I've got to do AA, because I also hate AA because I was of the opinion that alcoholism recovery was not like a game of Monopoly. Like, oh, you failed, back to the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's how I saw it. You get your chips, you get your chips, you get your chips, you get your chips. You screw up and drink one day. Sorry, no pass go. Go back to start. You know what I mean? That's not encouraging. That's not right. Everybody has their bad day. Everybody has a bad day. Everybody has a slip. You push on from there. You don't go back to the beginning. So I had this attitude about AA, but I didn't know AA. I didn't understand it either. But I finally said, I give up. I give up. If I got to do AA, I'll do AA. I will do anything. I'm done with this. I have had enough. I'm done. I'm about ready to go to a homeless shelter. I have nothing left. That's when I hit rock bottom. I have nothing left. I'm about to lose my kids. I'm about to lose everything that I have left. You know, and you're about to be lost to the system. I'm too big of a pansy. I don't survive well in a homeless shelter. I don't like to get my hands dirty. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Boy, cow. I think that was just it. I think at that point too, I don't want to lie anymore. I don't want to hide anymore. I don't want to cheat anymore. I don't want to have to be creative in how I'm going to sneak. It's exhausting. And so when I went in there, and I was in bad shape. I ought to send you a picture of my ID card.
I was actually hoping you would, like, for the marketing on this,
I
like,
will.
send me some pictures of like your journey. I'm gonna
Well,
have, like, some of the.
No, primarily my pictures are positive or look positive, but that picture is as bare as it gets. That is rock bottom.
Yes, I did.
My hell, I look like a freaking caveman that's got problems, you know? And I go in there and when I was going through the whole process, like, recovery, trying to get into a recovery center, I mean, it is a hell of a process, by the way. I had to go fill out all this paperwork. I couldn't walk up the steps. I had to have Daryl and Dylan help me, pretty much carry me, but I at least had enough that I could be carried. You know what I mean? But when I went in there, it was just, man. Daryl brought me, and it just, man, I got in there, and I'm like, listen, because that is one thing of AA too, is to turn your will and your life over to the care of your God, or a person, or something of a divinity that you can turn to of some kind. They changed it. It was very Christian over the years, but you know how everything's become. And so it's a God of your understanding. And that's part of that. So that's a big step. And I said, fine, I give up. And you know what? I got on my knees and I prayed and I asked forgiveness. And I mean, it was a lot to be forgiven. It was probably the most important prayer I ever had, because it was me finally saying, I give up. I am an alcoholic and I don't want to do this anymore. And I know I can't do it on my own. So I turn my will and my life over to my Heavenly Father. Mm. They offer church there. We grew up for sure doing things a one way. We're scared to death of other religions because we don't know them, right? And I said, I don't care what church. I mean, my Father in heaven has been, it's why I'm alive today. And I realize that all the good parts of my life are because of that. And if anything else, it was that belief that I was a better person. You know what I mean? When I believed and I was following and I was doing things, whether you believe in God or not, I was a better person then. Do you know what I mean? I started going to church. these weird different churches, and finding a love for God again. Finding appreciation for the Savior dying on the cross for my sins. And they said, you're going to have to do this. I says, I'll do it. I will do anything. I am putty in your hands. Whatever you tell me to do, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. And I'm going to be happy about it. I will do whatever you tell me. I completely surrendered. I am an alcoholic. And I did. And when I got into it, I got into it. I did not waste a day in that place. It was way harder than my other place. Way harder. We didn't get TV. We got it on Saturday to watch a movie of their choice, kind of thing.
Like a personal group.
But thank you. Do it. Thank you. Do it. Yep. And I did. I started going to little Bible readings, and I started finding things that were good about it. It was hard for me because I denounced it. I was an infant, but that's what I wanted to become, like a child, teachable again. And I did. I just flat out surrendered. And not only did I get through that, but every day, that's how important the gym was. There was a total gym in there. Chuck Norris did not get in good shape on a total gym. That's totally false. It's the one that, you lift your own weight up a slide or whatever. Anyway, I had that, and I had some treadmills. And guess what? The first time I went in there, okay, so bench press, I just kind of hop on this thing. If I just push like this, it's my own weight, and then I can tilt the thing to make the resistance more. I went to go lay on the thing, and I completely overshot it and fell on the floor, And then I remember we went down there, let's go play cornhole. I could throw the freaking beanbag from one end to the other. I'm close. I'm like, it's like, what is going on? I know I'm more coordinated than this. Like, yeah. I missed it. I'm like, oh, dang it. Anyway, and everybody in there, they're like, yeah, Jeremy, when you first came, we thought you were autistic. We thought you were retarded or something, and I'm like, why? I look back on the picture, I'm like, yeah, retarded. I say that lightly, but
it's cool to see what we're at now, though, because I remember when when I was in high school, I'll never forget this. You took one of my buddy's older brothers to the gym, the shirtless guy.
Yeah.
He was like, I went to the gym with Jeremy for the first time, and we warmed up, and I was like, a great workout. We were getting ready to leave, and you were like, we even started the workout. That was our warm up. And he was like, after Jeremy's warm up, I couldn't even move. He was getting ready to lift again, at least 4 or 5 more sets.
Mm-hmm.
It was funny. Anyway.
Well, that's true.
To hear that story is just funny.
Yeah.
I'm there, throwing a cornhole.
Oh, man. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Here I am, but I did, man. I buckled in, and so I would run on the bike. I knew I was uncoordinated. I could barely go up and down stairs, and I was still really struggling.
Yeah.
I think that one was the hardest one because it took me the longest to recover. I'm older, 45. I think, right? I'm gonna do that. That's right.
How old are you now?
46. Let's see. I'll be December 5th. I'll be a year and a half, 18 months.
18 months sober.
18 months sober. Yeah, I got to it, and I exercise every day, but every day I would push myself. I'm like, look, I don't want to just be okay and walk again and throw me back in. I'm going to come out here in great shape. I'm tired of half-assing my life. And I kid you not, I would go further and faster on that little bike. I couldn't do a treadmill yet because I could barely walk. I sat down at the bike. Do you know what I'm talking about? Mm-hmm. But it's the sit down one where the pedals are in front of you.
Yep.
And I would go harder and faster and try to maintain a certain heart rate. So, I had all aspects. How far can I go? How fast can I go? What is my heart rate? And I paced myself every day. And each day I'm like, I would get better and better. I would increase resistance. I would increase the distance. I would increase, and I had it planned out in my head, and I would watch my heart rate. Because of my heart rate, if everything that I did and I had set up My heart rate didn't go up. I'm not going to work out anymore. I got to go harder, faster. Do you know what I mean? So what I started to decide was, for me, this is what recovery is going to look like. I'm not just going to stop drinking. I'm going to change my life. I'm going to change my thinking. I'm not just quitting something. I'm gaining me again. I look back on when I built that house. I look back when I was a general contractor. I'd never done it in my life. Jeremy, you're capable. You need to be that guy. So you're not just going to come in here and recover. You're not just going to go and then you're going to go to meetings and then you're going to just keep, do some study, make sure those super important things. But I'm not going to stop there. I'm not just going to quit this. I am going to be the best version of myself. All of this is not going to be in vain. And so that is what I started doing right off the bat. And I built an entire workout with that stupid total gym. And I was getting stronger and stronger and looking better. I mean, on my eyes, I look better. Still good show. I was still front master, but I was doing it, man. And then I would judge it by how well I could throw the beanbag. I knew I couldn't. I would toss that beanbag. And when I started tossing it and started getting points, and finally, and they're like, Jeremy, are you gonna be able to go? Because they would, after we would eat lunch, you had the option. You can go back and relax and do whatever, or you can go run around the building with us. I'm going back. And then, nope, I'm going with you. Nope, I'm going with you. Yep, let's go. Hey, we're going to go do a couple laps around the big part of the building. Who wants to go? Me. Oh, next thing you know it, all of a sudden, I'm no longer the guy that's autistic in there. All of a sudden, people are looking up to me again. Because that's the thing. When you put yourself in that kind of situation, I am a leader. And I say that because I'm starting to believe it. Whether I am or I'm not, I'm going to be one. And guess what? When you start stepping up into that role and you push yourself and push yourself and push yourself, you don't have to say you're a leader. You become a leader. You become someone who is in charge of you. You are in charge of your life. And that appeals to people, But not only was I became a mentor. I became someone people looked up to in there. I became funny. People came in and I felt like I don't want anyone to come in here that doesn't leave feeling better about themselves, at least as much as I can do. Because I want everybody in this room to recover. Because I love every one of you. And you just get such a close bond with those people because there's things that you're telling them that you've never told anybody your entire life. That you have held secret and sacred because you are so scared for anyone to know that you did that. These people, you don't even know them and you're spilling your guts. There is no better feeling than spilling your guts to someone who has been down your road. All of our journeys were different, but every alcoholic and addict is the same person. We all think the same. We deal with the same mental issues. We deal with the same. Our stories may be different, but they're the same. Do you know what I mean? And when I left there, man, I wanted to leave there and I wanted to leave a mark. I didn't want to just be another person that went through recovery. Do you know what I mean? The gym was a big deal because Berkeley, that was his way of deciding if I was doing good or not. Dad, did you go to the gym today? He didn't ask if I was going to the gym today. Jeremy, Dad, did you drink today? Is the question. That's a real question. Yeah. When I would say, yeah, I did go to the gym. I had a great workout. Okay. Good, Dad. Good. That means I wasn't wasted. Do you know what I mean? Yep. And so that stuck with me too. And so when I got home, man, I was on fire. And I knew that it was going to be a heck of a road to gain trust again, to gain everybody's respect again. There's going to be people that hate me because of things I've done, and I have to accept that. And me, I have a hard time with that because remember, I would always judge myself. Yeah. And I always wanted to be the best, and I always wanted to be good enough, and I always wanted to be, And so It's so funny to look back because even as much as I was like, yeah, I was still an infant. You know what I mean? But the question came up. Oh, and then my son would always ask, Dad, you should do a bodybuilding show with me. Do you know why Berkeley lifts? Because he looked up to his dad, right? I want to have muscles like my dad, and he did, man. Here I am a drunk and he's done 3 bodybuilding competitions.
Good for him.
Do you know what I mean? Dad, you should compete with me. Dad, because guess what? If dad's competing with him, am I drinking? No. So it became a thing, you know? And so he asked me, he's like, Dad, you should do a bodybuilding show with me. This time I said, okay, let's do a bodybuilding show.
Cool.
And that was the ultimate to me. I'm like, look, like I said, that was the biggest thing. I'm not just going to recover. I'm going to do everything that I should have done to begin with. I'm going to not just quit drinking. I'm going to be a powerhouse. I'm going to change every aspect of me, not change me. We are who we are, right? But I'm going to be the best version of me. And man, I just started hitting the gym. I mean, and I started realizing out of all the medications that I had, that was the one thing that just set my day. I just realized, man, when I go, I can be in the worst mood. I'm no longer in a bad mood. I can go and I can be stressed out and anxiety. I no longer have stress or anxiety. You can't leave the gym after a good workout and not smile. Just try it. It's impossible. You go in there and you get it done and you've got a solid pump and you're lifting and you're, better than the day before. No way you're not going to come out there smiling. It's impossible.
Yeah.
And no matter what was going on in my life, no matter what I had done, when I went to that gym, when I came out, the only thing that I thought about was what I had just accomplished and how much better I looked. It was the only way that I could bury. So I'm trying to bury myself in alcohol for the same reason. The gym does the same thing. When I'm in the gym, I'm bodybuilder. I'm not Jeremy. Wasn't an alcoholic. I didn't do this. I didn't do that. I'm a bodybuilder. You know what I mean? And I'm awesome. Man, I'm the biggest guy in the gym.
It's cool.
But it's positive, right? It's like the best thing.
Yeah. People held out are looking at pity.
No.
With admiration.
And I kid you not, within that year, Ty, family believed me. He's going to recover.
Yeah.
Not because of anything I said, because of what I was doing. Man, I was going to those meetings. And right off the bat, even within the church program, they wanted me to be a facilitator. And I'm like, yes, use me, include me. That's not Jeremy. Jeremy didn't do those kinds of things.
Yeah.
But yes. I was a yes man. I was going to do everything. And man alive, I'm in the best shape of my entire life right now. I don't think I've ever saw my abs. I got abs. You know what I mean? I have veins. I look down at my arm. That's not even my arm. I've lifted my whole life and I have not accomplished what I've accomplished in the last year and a half. And to be invited on this, to be invited back down to Cody to speak, that was my one thing I wanted to accomplish. As I told them, I want to come back in a year because that means I got a year. But I want to talk. I want to tell my story. My best recovery thing in recovery that keeps me recovering is when I help other people. That's all. Man. And you know what? Just by example, people call me, Jeremy, I want to quit drinking. What do I do? And that's by just watching what I'm doing. If there's anything that I can say or do positive when I'm in the gym, I want to help. And that's why I was telling you, I want to have a group of guys that are bodybuilders because I want a camaraderie. Because if everybody's working out and they're accomplishing goals, they're not doing bad things for themselves. They're bettering their lives. You know what I mean? And that became my ultimate mission. Like, I want to do anything I can to show people, because when you're an alcoholic or you're a drug addict, well, if I'm not drinking, what am I going to do with my day? That's the biggest fear. Like, oh God, life's going to be boring if I don't have a drink. If I'm not out doing drugs, what the hell? That's a stupid life. Guess what? There's a lot to do on a daily basis. I get home at 8 or 9 o'clock at night for the first time. Do you know what I mean? Because I keep myself engaged and busy all the time, doing good things.
Yeah.
Going to my meetings, going to my, you know, going to the gym, whatever it takes. And I think I told somebody this the other day, and I firmly believe it. If there's anything that you want to accomplish that you've always wanted to do in your life, when you're in recovery, now is the time. You are ultra focused on bettering yourself, and you will do what it takes to be better. You are the most motivated. You have the most faith. You're the most humble version of yourself at that time. Why not take that time to finally do the things that you always wanted to do? You know,
Well, I'm proud of you, man. It's cool. That I had no idea, like, most of this shit. Like,
not a lot of people do.
there's big bits and pieces, but never to like that amount
Yeah.
that you just described. And no, I think it's awesome. I think this podcast will help a lot of people. I think your story is amazing. And yeah, it's like someone that's like your guest on my podcast, but also like my cousin.
Yeah.
Proud of you,
I
man.
love it. Well, and I'm proud of you. That's why I wanted to be on. 'Cause
Thanks, bro.
anything you guys do,
Yeah, nice. That's what I'm talking about.
Biggest fan.
But I have just some final questions for you to sum up the podcast, like some questions that you didn't mention. I think I'd like to know, our audience would like to know. Are you down if I asked you
Yeah.
one? Okay.
Yeah. Ask away.
And you said you were, so you got that one. What did you, how do I word this question? For those of people that are listening, that have maybe suffered a loss that they don't think they can recover from, a type of loss that like changes their way forward in life, what advice would you give to them?
Number one, there's no easy way through it. You've got to feel your feelings. If that makes any sense, feel your feelings. Don't run from your feelings. Get it out. I know that's hard to do, but the people that bottle it up and hide it and try to keep it and try to be strong for other people end up falling the hardest. And it happens years down the road. My biggest advice is don't just get over the loss of someone. Give that loss something to be proud of.
Dang, that's awesome. What is your favorite movie?
That is such a hard one.
I know, I love this question.
Because I have,
you can mention two or three if you want. Like an all-time favorite. It can be like
I have so many layers.
Okay.
I'm like an onion. Okay. So there's different levels of me. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So I have to break up favorites in genres, or I have to break up favorites in, that is the hardest question. Well, movies I go back to, Lost Boys.
Okay. Very good.
Love that movie. Much as I hated the 80s for some reason during the time, I love them now because they were great positive memories. Freaking love that movie. Tyler, that is like the worst question to ask me because I ask myself on a daily basis. I have so many favorites for so many reasons.
Good.
Gosh.
We can come down to that.
I don't know why that's like the one that always comes.
Lost Boys. Okay.
Lost Boys.
Okay. What is, now that you're sober, what's the hardest part of being sober?
The regret.
Regret.
Honestly. There is nothing hard about being sober because guess what? Life is a hell of a lot easier sober.
Yeah.
It really is. I mean, just when it comes down to decision making, I feel my brain heal more and more every day. And when it's bad when you know and recognize it yourself, because you don't see changes in yourself like other people do, because they see, and if they're seeing you on a daily basis. I can literally, my thought process heals and becomes better and better every day. Cool. And so, Yeah. What was the question again?
The hardest part about being sober.
Yeah.
The regret.
It is.
When you weren't-
It's yeah, and you've got to overcome that. You can't get down on yourself anymore. Just find a way to shake off the losses.
Okay, man. Last question in the podcast. What is the biggest, best lesson your mom ever taught you?
She always used to tell me, because like my dad would say, it's like a horrible advice, but it comes around, is he would always for example, he's like, yeah, if you're driving, you go under the speed limit, you go 5 miles an hour.
That's my feeling when I did
Yeah.
too.
That's because of the funeral business. And I'm like, God, get mad. It would ruin my day. Well, that is impossible. Why would he do that? Stupid. I'll never get there. And my mom came up to me and she says, Jeremy, just say okay and then do whatever the hell you want.
That's awesome.
And I don't mean it as in, but that's the point, is don't let it wreck your day.
Yeah.
They're just doing it because they love you.
Yep.
And they care. But just nod and okay. And then go do whatever the hell you want. Is that the funniest?
Advice. Oh, I love that image so much. Dude, man, well, I think she'd be proud of you, man. I think she's definitely proud, and you definitely took the long way around for sure.
Yeah.
I had no idea all this different stuff, but and I'll end the podcast with this thoughts, but me and my co-host talk a lot about loss and what it does to people when they don't know where to put those emotions. And so 2 recent podcasts that me and my buddy did were on The Last of Us and then Star Wars.
Yeah.
2 hurting people, like Ellie from The Last of Us, who slaughters an entire city just trying to avenge her dad.
Mhm.
She just can't get over that loss, where she loses everything.
Right.
Gains nothing and loses everything. Doesn't even get revenge. Doesn't even get that.
Mhm.
And then Anakin Skywalker, where he's doing all in his power to protect his world. He's this person that feels so many different emotions all at once, and he has no idea where to put them.
Yeah.
He just goes into his situation, obviously being put in a mechanical suit
Mhm.
that he depends on, that caused him perpetual pain for 20 years before he finally pulled himself out of it.
Mhm.
Because he was trying to hold on to this thing that he lost. He didn't know where to put his emotions.
Yeah.
And so just your journey, I just want to extend compassion. If I would have lost my mom, I think I'm thankful I didn't. I hope I don't lose my mom for 40 years.
Yeah.
But just having it happen at such a young age, just you trying to pick up the pieces for that life, I would not have been able to do it.
Mhm.
I don't know if many people would be able to do it. And the fact that you finally came around and I guess recognized it, the things that happened to you and that your actions in it, and now you're 18 months sober, you realize different things, have all these different goals, and one of the picture I'm going to use for the announcement on this post is you in Berkeley's flexing pictures, because I'm that's it.
It wraps it up.
Yeah, that wraps up the story.
In a
It's
nutshell.
if there's a movie based on your life, that is the way it would end. It's you and your son walking onto a stage and the camera goes dark.
Yep.
And so, man, I'm just thankful you came on the pod. I'm thankful for your time on a Sunday, and I love you. I think you're awesome.
I really appreciate it. And that is the biggest thing I could say out of all of this, is we're going to go through loss. We're going to go through pain. I look at this, all these years of time not well spent, to be the version I am now, to be the person, and I'm not there yet. Every day is an improvement from the day before. Is stay positive, stay happy, be grateful, because life's not over until it's over. And I think that we get too negative about so many things. We want to be angry. We want to be upset. We want to be hurt. We want that sympathy. Just stay positive and constantly work towards moving forward, always, because as long as you're moving forward, you're not falling back. Do you know what I mean? And I'll tell you what, I have never been more happy in my entire life. I am with a girl that I can honestly say I have never been in love until now, because now my head's there. And to see where my life is going and see my happy children that want to be around me again, and my family that wants to be around me again, there's no better win than that. And stepping on stage with my son there's nothing better, because that, to me, everything that I said no to, I did. I'm doing. And now, if I look back on my last year, nothing but pride. And this is the biggest thing. The only way to do any of what I just said is first and foremost, love yourself. And you think that's corny or whatever, but I'm telling you, until you can look in a mirror, look at yourself in the eyes, and I think everybody should try it and say, self, I love you. Jeremy, I love you. I'm proud of you. Proud of the person that you are. All of the hard things, I'm sorry for everything that you went through, but it's so proud of the person you became. And that tells you you're a strong person. But until you can look in the mirror and say, self, I love you, you will never go forward, because love for yourself is you'll never do anything to yourself in the negative if you love yourself. You truly love yourself. But I think that is honestly the strongest, most powerful thing that you could ever do for yourself and your family and the people on this earth is love yourself.